Intermittent Fasting, Meal Plan, Diet, and Exercise for Men and Women. Written by Frankie Jameson. Narrated by Denise L. Fountain. Introduction. Intermittent fasting is a controversial weight loss technique because it involves not eating food for an extended period of time. Many people have the notion that not eating will slow down your metabolism and send your body into starvation mode, but it turns out this is not true at all. In fact, the human body was designed to go long periods of time without eating, so intermittent fasting is actually a natural practice. Perhaps that is why it is so effective. If you would like to lose weight but don't want to give up certain foods or don't want to partake in vigorous exercise, intermittent fasting is probably your best option. Fasting will help you lose weight quickly even if you don't eat extremely healthy or exercise, although that would greatly enhance your results. This technique doesn't even require you to lower the amount of calories you consume. It simply takes a little bit of discipline in the beginning. If you don't like the idea of fasting, perhaps the benefits will convince you to give it a try anyway. Intermittent fasting has many benefits that will greatly increase the quality of your life. Some of the benefits include rapid fat loss, lowered blood pressure and cholesterol, increase in energy, especially in the mornings, enhanced memory and cognitive ability. These are just a few of the many benefits that fasting can offer you. If you simply want to be a healthier and/or happier person, it would be of your best interest to begin an intermittent fasting routine. So, how can you begin? There are a few ways one can begin fasting. One method, the one I prefer, is daily fasting. This involves eating your food for the day within a time period of 6 to 8 hours. That would mean you fast for 16 to 18 hours every day. The easiest way to do this is to skip breakfast in the mornings. You will benefit greatly from this. Even greater benefits will be experienced when you can lengthen the time spent fasting. For example, fast for 20 hours and eat for 4. Figure out what works best for you. Another method that works well is weekly fasting. This would involve a period of fasting that lasts between 24 and 36 hours. So, for example, you would eat as you normally do for 6 days of the week, then one day you would not eat any food at all. Drink plenty of water during the time when you are not eating. Weekly fasting is also effective, but not as effective as daily fasting, I have found. I encourage you to learn more and begin to incorporate one of these strategies into your life. Chapter 1. How to set up an intermittent fasting diet. Here is the extremely basic summary of how it works. On training days, eat 9 hours of the day and fast the remaining 15. On off or cardio days, eat 6 hours of the day and fast the remaining 18. Weight training 3 days per week. Cardio 2 to 4 times per week. Eat maintenance plus 500 calories on weight training days. Eat 50% of maintenance on other days. Majority of carbohydrate intake is on weight training days. Again, this plan is specific to fat loss. Plans for mass gain, bulking, and maintenance will be coming soon. Now for the detailed explanation of how to set up an intermittent fasting diet for fat loss, establishing eating and fasting times. The time of day in which you eat depends on if you are lifting weights that day or not. On lifting days, your eating window is 9 hours, and on, off, or cardio days, it's 6 hours. You will need to be able to weight train and do cardio at the same time of the day, as this will throw off the schedule. Eating schedule for weight training days. The fast is broken by a pre-workout shake, 15 to 30 minutes before you begin your workout, and lasts for 9 hours. For example, since I work out at 1 p.m., my eating window begins at 12:30 p.m. and lasts until 9:30 p.m. This can be inconvenient if you work out at, say, 8 p.m., so I feel weightlifting at lunch or in the morning works best. Next, we will look at setting up a schedule for off days or cardio days. Eating schedule for off or cardio days. The fast is broken an hour after cardio is complete and lasts for 6 hours. In my case, I do cardio at 1 p.m., so my fast is broken at 3 p.m. It remains 3 p.m. on off days. Since I train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the big picture looks like this. Monday, fast ends at 12:30 p.m. and begins at 9:30 p.m. Tuesday, fast ends at 3 p.m. and begins at 9 p.m. Wednesday, fast ends at 12:30 p.m. and begins at 9:30 p.m. Thursday, fast ends at 3 p.m. and begins 9 p.m. Friday, fast ends at 12:30 p.m. and begins at 9:30 p.m. Saturday, fast ends at 3 p.m. and begins at 9 p.m. Sunday, fast ends at 3 p.m. and begins at 9 p.m. Determining calories, macronutrient amounts. Now that you have set up your eating, fasting schedule, it's time to figure out how many calories, fat, carbohydrates, and protein you will be eating. I realize that this might seem overwhelming at first, with all the math, but once you initially establish your requirements, it's really quite easy and routine. Calories needed for fat loss. Caloric requirements depend if it is a weight training day or an off cardio only day. To determine calories needed for fat loss, you must first determine the calories needed for maintenance. The easiest way to get an estimate is to multiply your weight in pounds by 15. For example, if you weigh 200 pounds, the total calories needed for maintenance would be 3,000 calories per day. Calorie requirements for weight training days. To determine calories on weight training days, take the amount of maintenance calories and add 500 to it. So for our 200-pound person, that they would be eating 3,500 calories on days that they lift. Calorie requirements for off or cardio days. To determine calories needed for off or cardio days, simply divide your maintenance calories in half. So for off or cardio days, our 200-pound person would be eating 1,500 calories per day. Macronutrient breakdown. Now that your calorie requirements for fat loss have been determined, it's time to figure out how much of each macronutrient you will be needing. The amounts will vary on if you are weight training that day or not. The macronutrients we will be using will be the big three: fat, protein, carbohydrates. Be sure to remember that fat has 9 calories per gram and protein and carbs each have 4 calories per gram. Macronutrient breakdown for weight training days. Fat. The maximum amount of fat eaten per day is 30 grams. It doesn't matter where the fat comes from as long as 10 of these grams are in the form of omega-3 fish oil. Protein. To determine the minimum amount of protein per day, you multiply your weight by 1.25. Our 200-pound person will need a minimum of 250 grams of protein to preserve muscle. To determine the minimum amount of protein per day, you will multiply your weight by 1.25. Our 200-pound person will need a minimum of 250 grams of protein to preserve muscle. Sources don't really matter. Just be sure to be mindful that you don't exceed the fat limit. Chicken, very lean, red meat, fat-free cheese, and protein powder, whey or collagen, are excellent choices. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates make up the remaining calories in your diet. Once again, sources don't matter. Just be sure not to exceed the 30-gram fat limit, and you want to keep sugar below 100 grams. So in our sample person, he is getting 270 calories from fat and 1,000 calories from protein. With the caloric goal on lifting days being 3,500, that leaves him with 2,230 calories left for carbs. Divide 2,230 by 4 and you come up with a maximum carbohydrate amount of 558 grams. Macronutrient breakfast for non-lifting or cardio days. As I mentioned earlier, calories needed for days that you don't weight train or do cardio are 1/2 of what your maintenance calories are. Here is the macronutrient breakdown. Fat. Again, the amount of fat is unchanged from training days. The maximum amount of fat eaten per day is 30 grams. It doesn't matter where the fat comes from as long as 10 of these grams are in the form of omega-3 fish oil. Carbohydrates. On rest days or cardio-only days, carbohydrate sources should only come from fibrous green vegetables and the trace amounts found in your protein sources, such as whey and cheese. The maximum amount per day should not exceed 20 grams. Protein. The minimum amount of protein is your weight in pounds times 1.25. For our sample person requiring 1,500 calories per day, he would be getting 270 calories from fat, 80 calories from carbohydrates, and the remaining 1,150 calories from protein. That would equal 287.5 grams. Diet for weight training days. Weight training will be a 3-day-a-week full-body routine. I personally use Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but the days are up to you as long as there is a day off between workouts. Keep reading for my workout recommendation. Pre-workout. On training days, the fast is broken with a whey protein carb shake 15 to 30 minutes before your workout begins. I suggest a mix of simple carbs and whey protein. Protein equals 0.25 grams pounds times weight. Carbs equals 0.25 grams or pounds times weight. Gatorade powder, not the pre-made liquid form, maltodextrin dextrose blend is my pre-workout carb of choice. Keep fat to a minimum here. Post-workout. Within 30 minutes of your workout, you have another shake, but this time use a whey and casein dextrose mix. Protein equals 0.25 grams/pounds times weight. Carbs equals 0.50 grams/pounds times weight. The rest of the day. Your first solid meal of the day is 1 hour after your PWO shake. This will be the biggest meal of the day, but I recommend tapering your calories down until your last meal. Remember, with intermittent fasting, you don't need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Just make sure that you meet your caloric macronutrient goals. I do, however, recommend a collagen shake right before the eating period is over. Since it's a slow digesting protein, it will help keep you full longer. Diet for off or cardio days. Since calories are greatly reduced on off or cardio days, the eating window is shorter. It works best to have 2 to 3 good-sized meals rather than the 6 to 7 you read about in muscle mags. On cardio days, the fast is broken with a 50-gram protein shake, 1 hour after cardio is complete. 2 hours after the shake, have your first real meal and continue until the 6 hours are up. As I mentioned earlier, carbs are limited to 20 per day and should consist of fibrous green vegetables and the trace amounts in food. Intermittent fasting diet weight training routine. Weight training is a full-body 3-day routine. Again, exact days don't really matter, but make sure you have a day off in between workouts. You will be working with the large muscles only, legs, back, chest, on days 1 and 2, and will add in the smaller muscles, arms and calves, on day 3. You will do 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps for each large muscle and 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 for the smaller ones. Here's a sample workout routine. Day 1, push. Flat bench press, shoulder press, leg press, weighted crunches. Day 2, pull. Rows, chin-ups, hamstring curl. Day 3, push, pull. Incline bench press, rows, squats, calf raises, lateral raise, barbell curl, tricep, push down, lateral raise, back extensions, weighted crunches. For maximum fat loss, cardio should be down 2 to 3 times per week. Start with a 5-minute warm-up and then begin 10 minutes of high-intensity interval training, or HIIT. This works best on an elliptical or a spin bike instead of a treadmill. You will do this in 1-minute intervals. Max intensity for 1 minute, followed by a moderate pace for 1 minute. Repeat until 10 minutes are up. After the HIIT session is over, drink some water and rest for 5 minutes. After you rest, do 30 minutes of low to moderate intensity steady state cardio. A treadmill works great for this. Don't forget to wait an hour and have your 50 grams of protein. Chapter 2, Secrets to Successful Fasting. Fasting is becoming more and more popular both as a weight loss diet and as a long-term healthy lifestyle choice. Many people have questions about how to set up a fasting diet. Here are 5 key points to get you started. Number 1, choose how long your fast will be. The possibilities here are endless. However, most effective plans use a technique called intermittent fasting. This involves alternating periods of fasting and periods of normal, although healthy, eating. Perhaps the 2 most common methods are a 16-hour daily fast, think overnight until lunch the next day, and a 24-hour period 1 or 2 times a week. The beauty of both of these schemes is that they can be made to fit in with you and your life. Number 2, drink more water. This is a simple trick that serves 2 purposes. Firstly, this will increase satiety, the feeling of being full, which is psychologically very important when you are not eating. Secondly, this will accelerate the cleansing effect of a fast and allow your body to function optimally. Break your fast with a healthy meal. Again, the interest here is twofold. Firstly, when you are getting a healthy meal in first, you are simply leaving less space to eat crap during the rest of your eating window, which is a guaranteed method to reduce the waistline. Secondly, eating a high-sugar meal immediately after fasting will drive your insulin sky high. Spending your eating hours crashed out in a carb-induced sleep is not the best way to eat. There is one exception here. If your first meal coincides with training, it is good to release insulin. This will help the body drive nutrients into muscles rather than stocking them as fat. Number 4, work out regularly. This should be a no-brainer, but working out, and particularly weight training, should be at the heart of every diet. This gives you the opportunity to eat more while still burning fat, increases muscle mass, which in turn increases metabolic rate, meaning you burn more calories doing nothing, and will make the biggest difference in your appearance in the shortest time. Number 5, follow a plan. Again, this should be fairly obvious, but the easiest way to succeed with a diet and exercise regime is to remove any choice. Don't overthink things. By following a plan, you are relying on an expert who has already thought it through. Just follow the instructions. Chapter 3, How to Set Up a Daily Fasting Diet. Daily fasting is becoming the diet of choice for many looking for health and fat loss benefits without complication. Here are a few steps to starting out on a daily fasting lifestyle. So what is daily fasting? While many people use the eating pattern in different ways, a basic definition might be a regular period of under-eating or no eating followed by a short eating window. The first question many people have is, why do this? Without going into the science, which is both well documented and pretty compelling, it is easy to see why a daily fast is a good thing. Having many hours every day without eating is clearly going to lead to fat loss, and the link between fat loss and health should be obvious. So what time period should you choose for daily fasting? Although there are many different possibilities depending on goals, lifestyles, and situation, a common plan might be a 16-hour fast followed by 8 hours of eating. While this might seem like a long time to go without food, it is worth thinking about what this really means. Most people will fast for at least 10 hours overnight. A 16-hour fast is simply stretching this until lunchtime. The beauty of this style of eating is threefold. Firstly, it actually makes organizing your life easier. Rather than having to find a particular food choice at a particular time, you are simply not eating. Secondly, a fasting diet is less restrictive than other possibilities. This does not mean that you can eat donuts for 8 hours, but it is not necessary to stick to celery either. Once you have taken in some protein, meat, fish, or eggs, and fruit or vegetables, which should be the basis of any meal plan, you can certainly eat some of your favorite food. In 8 hours after filling up on good food already, it is difficult to overeat on rubbish. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, this can become a lifestyle. Dropout rates for most diets are well over 90% after a week or two, simply because it demands a lot of willpower to be hungry all the time and not eat until you aren't hungry. Here you can actually fill up during your eating window, and many people, myself included, report feeling more alert during the fast. Daily fasting is becoming more and more popular as a fat loss method for the quick results it provides, but also because it is both easy to set up and, more importantly, easy to stick to long term. In fact, daily fasting can be both a short-term solution and a long-term lifestyle for permanent physique changes and good health. So how can you incorporate daily fasting? The first thing to do is to decide how long it should be. Most effective plans range from 16 to 24 hours, followed by a refeeding period that can be anywhere from 8 to 24 hours. This decision can be adapted to you rather than forcing you to make big lifestyle changes in order to fit it with the demands of an eating plan, something that is common in most diets. After establishing the length of the daily fasting period, depending on goals and lifestyles, the start and end points of the fast need to be decided. This is where the ease of intermittent fasting becomes apparent. For example, with an 8-hour feeding window, a good plan might be to eat from 12:30 to 8:30 in the evening and then fast until the next day at 12:30 lunchtime. Why is this an easy system to put into practice? Simply because it is not that different to what most people do anyway. Eat an evening meal, skip breakfast, and then start eating again at lunch the next day. The other question to ask yourself about daily fasting would be food choices. Again, here is another big advantage. Most other fat loss plans you care to mention will basically rule out a huge number of things that you want to eat. This is not a good idea for all sorts of reasons, particularly the effect this has on lipid, a crucial hormone in fat loss. This diet is far less severe in terms of food choice. Whilst refeeding on soda and burgers is not a good idea, certain foods that wouldn't normally be associated with fat loss are fine here and, in fact, will even help your diet. Chapter 4. 7-Day Intermittent Fasting Plan for Weight Loss. Ever heard the saying, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail? There is some truth to this mantra. Most people fail on diets because of several reasons, but the most common ones are: diets don't allow certain foods the dieter likes, therefore the dieter is doomed from the start. Most dieters fail to plan their meals in advance and fall prey to random food choices. Poor willpower. Is there any way around the above scenarios? Of course there is, but few, if any, know the options which exist for them to enjoy foods they love and still lose weight. There is an easy way to do this, following a 7-day diet plan. Here is a plan to help fulfill the goal to become thinner by using intermittent fasting, IF. Fasting is a way to eat the foods you love but still catapult significant weight loss. The first day of the plan begins Sunday evening, since you will stop eating at 6 or 7 p.m. until the following day at the same time. Optionally, you can start the fast at breakfast time and resume eating at breakfast time the next day. IF is versatile, and you can tailor it to fit your needs. Follow these guidelines for optimal weight loss success. Monday. This is usually a work day for most unless there is a holiday. Prepare to fast today. Stay away from coffee, as it is one of the worst things you can drink, besides alcohol, that is. Despite the many who justify their coffee intake, numerous studies have pointed out the many poisonous substances in this dangerous drink. Stevia is a natural sweetener which doesn't raise blood sugar levels. Fast all day until 6 or 7 p.m., then eat. It may be a struggle when first starting, but eventually it will become easy. Break the fast with something light to eat, like a salad. It won't take much to fill you, as the stomach tends to shrink from not eating all day. Remember to drink plenty of water throughout the day. This is the key to fasting and helps you from succumbing to the munchies. Tuesday, go back to the normal eating routine today. If 3 meals are eaten, then continue to do this or whatever the normal routine is. Be sure to eat plenty of fruits and vegetables and have an adequate amount of protein with the meal. In fact, keep protein intake levels high in relation to carbohydrates. Drink water. Once again, your evening meal will be your last until the same time the following day. Wednesday. Today is your second and final fasting day of the week. Remember to drink plenty of water until the IF is broken later this evening. Thursday. Back to the regular routine. Eat regular meals consisting of mostly protein and reduced carbohydrates. Feel like a light dessert? Have it. Fasting has decreased your caloric intake, so there are calories to spare. What a fantastic benefit of IF. Friday. This is fun day. Maybe 2 fasts were done without any dessert this week, and it's time for a pizza or burger and fries. You fasted all week and have some calories in the bank and can enjoy these guilt-free. Go right ahead, but don't overdo it. Saturday. Continue eating healthy foods, which include vegetables, fruits, and lean cuts of protein, such as fish, chicken, or beef. Always remember to consume more protein than carbs. Sunday. It's pretty laid back today, and maybe dinner out with the family or watching the game is the plan. It's cool to have a few chips and some extras, but know your limit. Everything in moderation. Eat sensible meals or even a small cheat meal and start the fast again. Monday. Intermittent fasting is a great way to become thinner without giving up all the foods you love. It also has a variety of other health benefits, including a natural way to increase the caloric deficit to promote weight loss. Use intermittent fasting as your 7-day diet plan to create a slimmer you. Chapter 5. Intermittent meal timing for weight loss. Eating every 2 to 3 hours. So the idea behind eating every 2 to 3 hours is to keep the metabolism up, so the body has to ask for more and more calories, thus forcing the body to dip into fat storages. I honestly believe that eating small meals, almost snack-like meals, 6 to 8 times per day is one of the best ways for you to lose body fat. Even though it has been said that the body does not need small meals to keep the metabolism up, I think it's a great habit to train yourself to eat smaller meals. So when you are done dieting, you don't have this terrible habit of overeating. Also, you ensure that your body is using the food for fuel rather than storing any of it. So it's a great way to know that you are not overeating in any way. Eating only when hungry. Eating only when you're hungry is easier said than done. It makes sense on paper, but in actuality, the food can speak more than your discipline at times. So I believe that eating only when you are hungry is great, if you make sure that you do not overeat at meal times. It's a very natural reaction for the mind to go into panic mode and want to overeat because you know you are going to be waiting and constantly asking yourself, am I hungry yet? When dieting for single-digit body numbers, this can be a disaster waiting to happen because failure to plan is a plan for failure. Some people like to intermittent fast for a 24-hour time period or 12 to 18-hour time period 1 to 3 times per week for weight loss. They believe that the calories cut from the fasting days will make up for the days they do not cut calories for. This can seem like a relief to some, while for others this triggers an anxiety and makes them eat more. I have tried this myself and have honestly found that this is not the way to go. It makes me crazy over food and quite distorted, as I could never follow my body's signs. As soon as I stopped fasting, I got better body composition change. I think for the best fat loss, you need to eat every 2 hours, small and clean meals, having protein, moderate fat, and carbohydrates coming from vegetables. Give yourself a time limit, like 2 weeks, to see what kind of results you can make in that time frame. This way, the goal is short and you can do it. Realize for maximum fat loss, this is not something you should do for a lifestyle approach to dieting. Chapter 6. Using intermittent fasting to lose 10 pounds. If you are struggling to lose 10 pounds, you probably think you have tried every diet under the sun, from the zone to the grapefruit diet. Perhaps you have managed to get the pounds off and then put them all back with a little extra once you have gone back to normal eating. So, what is the solution? Enter intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is basically alternating periods of fasting, no food, with eating more or less normally. This has a few advantages over other diets. Perhaps the biggest reason why this sort of approach works so much better than anything else is because it is easy to follow. There is no need to count calories or plan everything you're going to eat to the nearest gram and the exact minute when you must eat. Because you are fasting either daily or 1 or 2 times a week, burning fat takes care of itself. Eating less is also easy because you are spending less time eating. This is a far healthier approach than constantly grazing. Who do you want to be, a lion or a cow? If you make the effort to break your fast with a healthy meal as well, this leaves even less place for junk calories. You don't need to calculate exactly. Your body will tell you whether you are hungry or not. If you are looking for the best results in the shortest amount of time, combining an intermittent fasting diet with a solid exercise program will see the fat dropping off of you very quickly. And the great thing is you don't need to suffer to do it. During the fast, you will feel alert and will be burning fat, and when you eat, you can actually eat to satisfaction, so you don't have to spend the whole diet feeling hungry and can actually stick to it long term. In fact, most people who embark on intermittent fasting follow this lifestyle either permanently or for regular periods throughout the year because of the great weight control and health benefits. Chapter 7. Intermittent Fasting as the Best Weight Loss Plan. For many of us trying to lose weight, it can be a time-consuming business that requires planning and organization that we struggle to fit into our daily schedule. It is this failure to be consistent in our efforts that is the main cause why so many weight loss attempts fail. Seeing this frustration in my own efforts and those of my clients, I researched new diet strategies and found the Eat, Stop, Eat and diet program that uses intermittent fasting as an approach to fast and sustainable weight loss. For those of you not sure what intermittent fasting is, the most basic explanation I can give is that for 2 or 3 times a week, you abstain from eating and just drink water for around a 24-hour period. I have followed this method now for the past few months and have seen great results with reduced body fat levels, increased energy levels, and a more positive relationship with food. But to clarify further, here are 3 good reasons why I think short-term fasting is one of the best weight loss plans I have used. Reducing my calorie consumption was easy to achieve. On a straightforward level, if you want to lose weight, then you must burn more calories than you eat. Now, to create this deficit, you have to be very careful about what and how much you are eating. If you don't track or have a good idea about just how many calories you take in, then it is very easy to overdo it and sabotage your weight loss. However, by fasting for 2 full days, I easily found over the course of the week that I could keep my calories low enough to lose fat and not have to restrict myself too much on the other days. Planning and organization was not needed. Prior to using this fasting technique, I was following the classic 6 meals a day approach. Now, while I have a good results with this previously, it has become more difficult to organize as my schedule got busier. Therefore, to me, one of the big advantages of intermittent fasting was the simplicity of how it worked. Just skip breakfast and lunch 2 days a week, then eat normally on the other days. This works well in my weekly schedule because it is flexible and requires little planning ahead. It is easy to stick with. One of the major hurdles people must overcome to lose weight successfully is being able to implement and stick with a plan long enough to see results. Generally, people stop dieting because they find it either too restrictive or just too bland and boring. This is where I think the intermittent fasting can solve this problem because, as I mentioned before, when not fasting, I really just eat what I like without worrying about it. Now, to be honest, I do follow a healthy diet because I enjoy it and what it does for my body. However, I do get the odd urge to have a treat meal every now and again. With fasting, I can have this and not have any of the guilt that would normally follow. By not having to stress so much about what I eat all the time, it never feels like I am on a diet, and this, I believe, is a major reason why I'm able to follow the program with ease. Obviously, if you just want to eat lots of junk food, then you're not going to get the most from fasting, and this will reflect on your physique. Nevertheless, you certainly can be more relaxed in your food choices than other fat loss programs I have tried. The trick is just to start by eating what you want while fasting. Then if you're not losing weight, just keep tightening your diet until you find the right balance. Chapter 8. The perfect number of meals for fat loss. The first thing that people ask when it comes to a nutrition program is, how many meals do I need to eat? They say this with some attitude because they assume I'm going to tell them 6 meals, and what we have learned about assuming, which has become the standard now for fat loss, muscle gain, etc. With so many diet programs and books available, there's a cookie-cutter approach that tries to have mass appeal. While I'm not criticizing the authors, I am suggesting to those that are reading to do a little self-experimentation and not to fully jump into one style. Find a few that look good and make them work for you. Are you able to deal with hunger well and enjoy the feeling of intermittent fasting? Then go for it. Do you hate hunger with a passion? Then eat 6 meals a day. The point is, instead of blindly following something as gospel, find out if it's something that fits your lifestyle or personality type. I've played around with many different programs in the past, but if I had only asked myself a few questions before getting started, I would have saved myself a lot of time. The key thing is, it doesn't matter how many meals you choose. It's what you can follow consistently. Sure, recent research is showing fewer meals is better for fat loss, but it doesn't mean fat loss is impossible on the 5+ meals. It's about what works for you. We've all heard it a million times, and I've said it a million times. It could be the perfect nutrition plan, but if it doesn't work for you, then forget about it. I've dropped body fat on anywhere from 1 to 8 meals a day. What does this tell me? They all work. Like I said, sure, some work better than others, but it's what works for you. Keyword, you. The number that has worked for many of my clients as well as myself is 4 meals. This gives you enough space between meals to raise hunger levels and boost fat-burning hormones, but not so much that you'd eat your left arm. So that's my favorite. But I still recommend you experiment with some different options. Try starting at 4 and work from there. Ask yourself what you can commit to for 4 weeks, be it an intermittent fasting schedule or 4 meals a day plan. Once you decide, add the foods that will help you get these goals and take out all of the ones that will hinder you. Keep track of your results. Remember though, when it comes to fat loss, hunger is not a bad thing or your enemy. That's body fat just wasting away. Now, just like a controlled fire, to be effective, it must be controlled. Let a fire, your hunger, go too long and you start getting into some lean muscle waste problems. Chapter 9. How to stop from eating too much. When you are trying to lose weight, the single most difficult problem to solve is how to stop from eating too much. The essence of a diet involves a reduction of daily calories. There are many ways to achieve a calorie reduction, one being eating smaller, more frequent meals. The purpose of more frequent meals is to combat hunger while still reducing calories during the day. When you are stuck eating 6 small meals a day, like typical diet suggests, you really don't have to worry about eating too much. The food is usually small portions of chicken, beef, and vegetables, making it tough to overeat. If you are lucky, you might even get to sprinkle in some almonds with a meal as a fat source. The description sounds bland, doesn't it? If all people ate were bland, boring meals, nobody would gain weight. What happens when you want to eat good food? Overeating actually becomes an issue when the meals that you eat taste good. If you happen to eat a delicious meal, losing fat becomes a real struggle. Every time you eat something that tastes good and overeat, you are taking a step in the wrong direction. The result is that you end up gaining weight back. This is why the conventional diet does not work. First, you are depriving yourself of food that you like. Even if you love chicken breasts and vegetables, eating them more than once a day, every day, gets boring. The same can be said for any other bland meal that you have. Initially, diets like this start off well because you are motivated and it's something new. Gradually, the constant eating and preparing becomes too much and something has to give. You have a weak moment and eat something you love. This alone isn't such a bad thing, but usually you will gorge on anything that tastes good. Not only did you eat unhealthy food choices, you also consumed way too many calories. For most people, this is not a good approach to losing weight. It is far too difficult to develop the willpower to break old existing eating habits and get results. If you struggle dealing with how to stop from eating too much, try intermittent fasting. This method creates a caloric deficit in a different way through planned fasting. By not eating for a day during the week, you automatically are cutting a day's worth of calories from your diet. What does this mean for the average person? You don't have to give up all the food that you love to eat normally. Keep in mind that you should always be trying to make good choices, but the moments of weakness will not be as detrimental to your success in weight loss. For some people, fasting for a whole day is just too much. That is the beauty of intermittent fasting. It is extremely adaptable to any situation. There are many tweaks that can be made to the program to allow you to lose weight and to lose it for life. If the idea of losing weight while still being able to eat some of the foods that you love sounds intriguing, I highly suggest that you look into intermittent fasting and what it can do for you. Conclusion. What's an easy diet plan? Is there such a thing? For anyone who's been on a diet, it's not an easy thing to do. Who wants to give up all the food that they love and eat so-called healthy food? Well, there is a way to eat real food and still enjoy an easy diet plan through intermittent fasting. How does one become thinner? It's a simple question. It's a simple equation. Burn more calories than consumed, right? This is easier said than done on a traditional diet since calories are restricted to a minimum, leaving the dieter feeling irritable, moody, and hungry. Some people are able to lose weight on traditional diets, but the majority start them only to find themselves gorging on burgers and desserts several days later. Why is it so challenging to become thinner by following a diet? Here's why. Most foods on diets are restrictive and leave the dieter with no variety. Diets invoke change, which most people resist. Most diets are not individualized to each person and don't take into account their differences in biochemistry. It makes complete sense to say diets don't work, but everyone is on one, right? So if diets don't work, what can one do to lose weight once and for all? Intermittent fasting is a technique in which the dieter forgoes eating for extended periods of time, usually 12 to 24 hours, on 2 non-consecutive days. It has been used for spiritual or religious purification for many years. Recently, increased research has focused on the benefit for losing weight and maintaining weight loss. The dieter forgoes eating to create a caloric deficit. They would have been doing the same on a traditional diet by watching calories and portion sizes. By fasting intermittently, the candidate creates the caloric deficit and also gets to enjoy some amazing health benefits as well. One of these may include eating some of the foods he or she loves without having to count calories. This method does take some getting used to, as it goes against conventional beliefs. If you're ready to give it a try, it has amazing benefits and is one of the best options for an easy diet plan. In summary, here are a few quick tips to make your fast easy. Don't try to fast the full 24 hours the first time. Do a short fast first and extend over time. Drink plenty of water. Thirst can sometimes be confused with hunger. Big meals can shock the digestive system after fasting. Break the fast with a light meal such as salad with tuna. Enjoy your fasting and the amazing health benefits it provides. This has been Intermittent Fasting, Meal Plan Diet and Exercise for Men and Women, written by Frankie Jameson, narrated by Denise L. Fountain. Copyright 2017 by Frankie Jameson. Production copyright 2017 by Frankie Jameson. Intermittent Fasting, Weight Loss Diet Tips for Men, written by Frankie Jameson, narrated by Denise L. Fountain. Introduction. Intermittent fasting involves alternating your eating patterns between periods of fasting, consuming only water, and non-fasting, eating. The eating times can be highly variable and extend over several days. Some of the longer non-eating periods include a 36-hour fast, followed by 12 hours of eating, usually broken into 3 meals about 3 to 4 hours apart. Most intermittent fasting diets extend over a 24-hour period, allowing the person to stay consistent from day to day. The more aggressive of these day-long fasts limit a person to 4 hours of eating, usually at night. The most widely accepted fasting regimen involves an 8-hour window for eating. Intermittent fasting has been studied extensively on both animals and humans. Unless the fast has extended beyond 36 hours, no negative effects were observed in the test subjects, other than mild to moderate hunger pains. Intermittent fasting has been shown to decrease body fat, stabilize blood sugars, and increase muscle response. How does it work? It all revolves around the hormone insulin. Your body releases insulin whenever you consume food, more so for foods high in carbohydrates. The insulin stimulates the absorption of nutrients, mostly glucose, into your fat and muscle tissue. Since most of the time the muscle cells are not energy deprived, excess nutrients after meals are stored in your fat tissue. Glucose is also stored as glycogen in your liver. It takes about 3 hours after meal times before your body's insulin levels drops to pre-meal levels. At the lower insulin concentrations, your liver and fat tissues release the stored glucose and fatty acids into your bloodstream for energy. By extending the time between meals, you increase the length of this catabolic state when your body burns off fat. Were you told to eat 5 to 6 small meals each day? Frequent meal consumption actually hinders the body's fat-burning process. Under a similar diet, a person using an intermittent fasting approach will attain a lower body fat percentage than frequent eater. Keep in mind, however, that the quality of your diet is more important than the timing. Intermittent fasting is not an excuse for binging on junk food later at night. You still need to eat clean. Furthermore, you will want to increase your protein consumption when on a fasting diet. Protein is the best macronutrient in terms of satiety, meaning that calorie for calorie, protein will subdue the feeling of hunger for longer than will carbohydrates or fats. Eating a high-protein, low-carb diet is a must, especially on non-workout days. If you are not seeing any results in your current weight loss program, I strongly suggest you try the intermittent fasting approach. It will take a week or 2 before you can go the 16 hours of fasting without feeling extremely hungry, but the results are worth the temporary hunger. Chapter 1. What is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting has become a popular way to use your body's natural fat-burning ability to lose fat in a short period of time. However, many people want to know, does intermittent fasting work, and how exactly does it work? When you go for an extended period of time without eating, your body changes the way that it produces hormones and enzymes, which can be beneficial for fat loss. These are the main fasting benefits and how they achieve those benefits. Hormones form the basis of metabolic functions, including the rate at which you burn fat. Growth hormone is produced by your body and promotes the breakdown of fat in the body to provide energy. When you fast for a period of time, your body starts to increase its growth hormone production. Also, fasting works to decrease the amount of insulin present in the bloodstream, ensuring that your body burns fat instead of storing it. A short-term fast that lasts 12 to 72 hours increases metabolism and adrenaline levels, causing you to increase the amounts of calories burned. Additionally, people who fast also achieve greater energy through increased adrenaline, helping them to not feel tired even though they are not receiving calories generally. Although you may feel as fasting should result in decreased energy, the body compensates for this, ensuring a high-calorie burning regime. Most people who eat every 3 to 5 hours primarily burn sugar instead of fat. Fasting for longer periods shifts your metabolism to burning fat. By the end of a 24-hour fast day, your body has used up glycogen stores in the first few hours and has spent approximately 18 of those hours burning through fat stores in the body. For anyone who is regularly active but still struggles with fat loss, intermittent fasting can help to increase fat loss without having to ramp up a workout regime or drastically alter a diet plan. Another benefit of intermittent fasting is that it essentially resets a person's body. Going for a day or so without eating changes a person's craving, causing them to not feel as hungry over time. If you struggle with constantly wanting food, intermittent fasting can help your body adjust to periods of not eating and help you to not feel hungry constantly. Many people notice that they begin to eat healthier and more controlled diets when they fast intermittently 1 day a week. Intermittent fasting varies, but is generally recommended for about 1 day every week. During this day, a person may have a liquid, nutrient-filled smoothie or other low-calorie option. As the body adjusts to an intermittent fasting regime, this usually is not necessary. Intermittent fasting helps to decrease fat stores naturally in the body by switching the metabolism to break down fat instead of sugar or muscle. It has been used by many people effectively and is an easy way to make a beneficial change. For anyone who struggles with stubborn fat and is tired of traditional dieting, intermittent fasting offers an easy and effective option for fat loss and a healthier lifestyle. Chapter 2: Benefits of Intermittent Fasting. You may have heard of caloric restriction in order to prolong our lives, but did you know that a healthier alternative exists in the form of intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting is a great way to continue making gains after you've had some initial weight loss with the paleo diet. Let's go over some of the benefits. Intermittent fasting, or IF, increases your fat metabolism. As long as you keep your fast to a reasonable limit, say 24 to 36 hours, your metabolism speeds up and it will burn more fat cells as you have trained it to do with the paleo diet. Intermittent fasting won't decrease your muscle mass like caloric restriction. Caloric restriction has a more deleterious effect when it comes to your skeletal muscle compared to intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting helps remove waste material. Autophagy is a process where waste material is removed from your cells, and this process is initiated by fasting. Often people tend to use IF once a week due to complications with jobs, school, and eating social with others, but you may choose to do it up to 3 times a week or smaller sessions every day. It is best for each person to decide what works for their body through trial and error. The key is to start off slow so you don't make an early determination that is too difficult to handle. One method is eat breakfast one day and then not eat again until breakfast the next day, or choose another meal to do this with as you please. Not to mention there are other benefits of IF. Some of these benefits include protection from Alzheimer's disease through the increased production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor, lowering of cholesterol levels and triglycerides, increased insulin sensitivity, and increased longevity. Other more anecdotal benefits include mental clarity and stronger resistance to stress. The discovery of longevity benefits arise from a study conducted on rats where they were subjected to periods of IF for 24 hours, and a determination was made that their lives were prolonged without affecting the development of their bodies and organs. An interesting side effect for those paleo dieters who take interest in weightlifting and exercise is that intermittent fasting can lead to an increase in growth hormone, especially in men. Growth hormone has many benefits for adults, including increased muscle mass and effects on the skin, which help produce a look of youth. Don't worry about it affecting your workouts either. Studies on athletes who train during periods of fasting have shown that it has little to no effect on their performance. In some cases, it can improve the metabolic balance of athletes to better break down body fat instead of muscle. Chapter 3. Intermittent Fasting Weight Loss for Men. When it comes to losing weight, men have a slight advantage over women. Women have been saddled with a hormone that can actually inhibit fat loss. It's called estrogen. Maybe you've heard of it. So for men, unless they're loaded with estrogen, the real secret to losing weight is simply eating less calories than they're used. But it's not really that simple. Simply eating less every day may cause you to lose weight, but in order to know that you're eating less, you either need to go on a strict, regimented, planned-out diet or count calories in everything you eat. Who wants to do that? So oftentimes men will try something else that actually won't work for very long. They'll stop eating. They'll skip meals during the day and only eat at night in what they think is going to cause them to drop a few pounds. This will work for a little while, but eventually their bodies go into what's called starvation mode. The human body is an incredible piece of equipment. If you're trying to lose weight and you do so by eating fewer calories, there will come a point where your body notices the reduced food intake and goes into a panic mode. When this happens, your body will do two things: slow down your metabolism and start to store even more fat so that it's there for times of extremely low food intake. Obviously, this is going to work against you. The traditional way to fight this problem is to eat 6 small meals a day, thus keeping your metabolism up and your body out of starvation mode. I find that this works better for women than men, since men seem to be able to go for hours without eating and not realize it. Those 6 meals may turn into only 4 one day, then 3 the next, and then, 6 the next day as we get back on track. Compounding that is the fact that the 6 meals a day plan usually means 6 meals full of boring diet food. The majority of men are horrible at staying on diets. In fact, we hate diet food. Some also like beer and potato chips and red meat. And calorie cutting gets boring real fast. Is there a way for men to lose weight without giving up the foods they love or putting themselves on a restrictive diet? Yes, there is. After trying all the other strict methods of losing weight, and they all did work, I finally settled on intermittent fasting as the end-all, beat-all ideal way for weight loss for men. The concept is simple. If you eat what you normally eat most days of the week and then fast for brief periods, you end up eating less calories, which causes you to lose weight, but your body never goes into starvation mode. Your metabolism and energy levels stay high so that when you've lost the weight you need to, you can resume your normal life without the post-diet weight gain associated with traditional diet methods. Isn't fasting hard? Actually, it's quite easy, especially for men who don't seem to get as irritable as women when they go long periods without eating. Most men find it actually easy to go 24 hours without eating since they usually have plenty to do to keep them occupied. Also, knowing that you're going to resume eating after the fasting period with the foods you normally eat means that you never really feel that you're on a diet. Lots of weight loss programs will claim you can keep eating the foods you love, but my experience is they mean in tiny portions only. Intermittent fasting works even if you still insist on eating a half a gallon of ice cream during the game. I truly believe that when done correctly, it's the most effective weight loss for men available. Chapter 4. Intermittent Fasting and Bodybuilding. One of the most famous bodybuilders of this generation, Sergio Nubret, was a strong advocate of intermittent fasting way back before it was popular. Sergio Nubret had a fantastic physique, and whether or not he built that body using steroids is not the question here. What his nutritional methods are. Amazing body. Sergio Nubret was famous not only for having an impeccable physique, he was also famous for his style of nutrition. He ate like a lion in the African wild. No, he didn't go around chasing zebra and antelope. He simply ate one gargantuan meal each day, and the remainder of the day he fasted. Essentially, what he was practicing was intermittent fasting. He had a window where he would eat his meal and a window where he wouldn't. Can you emulate him using intermittent fasting? If he built such an impressive physique using a one meal a day method, surely you can tap into your genetic potential for bodybuilding using an intermittent fasting model of 2 to 3 or even 4 meals a day. It's quite easy to fit 3 to 4 meals a day into an 8-hour eating period. For example, if your eating window starts at 12 p.m., you could have your first meal at 12 p.m., your second at 3 p.m., your third at 6 p.m., and your fourth at 8 p.m. It's pretty much the same as eating every 2 to 3 hours. It just means you get to have bigger portions. Always a good thing. Calorie surplus for muscle building. At the end of the day, whether or not you can build muscle doesn't come down to how many meals you have. It comes down to whether or not you're in a calorie surplus. If you're training progressively and are in a calorie surplus, you will build muscle. So this suggests that intermittent fasting and bodybuilding can work for you. It worked for Sergio Nubret, and he ate only one meal a day. There are a lot of other success stories available from the likes of Brad Pilon, John Bariardi, Martin Burkhan, and the Hodgett twins that show significant muscle growth while intermittent fasting. What works for you? In saying that, like everything, it may or may not be the best option for you, what's important is that you find out if that is the case and don't dismiss it until you have at least experiment with it. The benefit of intermittent fasting are pretty amazing, and combined with a proper training program and nutrition, you can build muscle to bodybuilding standards. Give it a shot and let me know how you get on. Chapter 5, Weight Loss for Men Over 40. It seems that most men seem to automatically start gaining weight between the ages of 30 and 40, even if they haven't made any obvious changes to their lifestyle. And unlike their younger counterparts, losing that extra weight and keeping it off becomes increasingly more difficult the older we get. In observing the men around me, it also seems that when men of a certain age lose the weight, they usually don't keep it off for long. Most will be able to stay in shape for a few months or so, but then the pounds slowly start creeping back on. Interestingly enough, I also noticed that the exact opposite seems to happen when older women lose weight. They seem to stay in shape for years without sliding backwards. Why do men over 40 have such a difficult time losing weight and keeping it off? Most men look at weight loss as just another problem they need to solve, and it gets solved based on a priority system that puts a lot less priority on looking good the older we get. But once we've decided to do it, it's very easy for us to stay focused on the goal until it's accomplished. Then we simply move on to the next problem we need to solve. And while we're doing that, the weight we worked so hard to lose creeps back on. Even men who regularly go to the gym still seem to have trouble keeping weight off in their 40s or 50s unless they choose to be very strict with their diets. But who wants to do that? I think as we age, we can no longer do some of the things we enjoy when we are younger. Our foods become even more enjoyable for us, and most middle-aged men struggle with any kind of diet that is going to take our junk food away from us. If we do manage to stay on a diet long enough, there's no doubt in the back of our minds that as soon as we hit our goal weight, we are going to go on a feeding frenzy. So what's the solution for men who desire to drop a few pounds but also don't want to give up their junk food long term to continue to find themselves back on a strict diet? I believe the answer may lie in a new diet practice called intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting works on the idea that your daily caloric intake can be maintained, but your weekly or monthly intake can be reduced by fasting 1 or 2 times a week. Since your overall calorie intake is less than your expenditure, you will lose weight, but you won't feel like you're on a diet because most days you're eating the same things you normally eat. Of course, a little exercise or maybe choosing steamed vegetables over mashed potatoes with gravy will certainly help. But you certainly don't have to watch what you eat 24/7, just know when not to eat at all. And if most men are like me, they will not have much difficulty skipping meals once or twice a week when they know that when they resume eating they can pretty much eat whatever they want. It may just be the perfect way to drop those middle-aged pounds. It's simple, it's scientific, and it doesn't require a lot of sacrifice. Almost perfect. Chapter 6. How to Lose Weight by Intermittent Fasting. When it comes to weight loss and what to do to get that trim and sexy figure that you want, there are countless options. You may have heard about exercising, getting your cardios right, and dieting. You may have even tried all of these methods. Intermittent fasting is simply a way of changing or switching your diet patterns to make sure that you eat during different times in a day. It is also called the 5-2 diet. That means for 5 days you get to eat whatever you want, and then for the next 2 days you cut down on the calories that you take in. The simple truth that is, fasting is bad for you, but when done correctly, intermittent fasting can help you lose weight in the long run. Intermittent fasting makes you lose a lot of weight simply because you get to fast during certain parts of the week. This makes you stronger and healthier in the long run. Recent research has said that many people who tried this diet have had their lives changed simply by the amount of fat they lost. According to Brad Pillen, the author of the popular Eat, Stop, Eat, he said that in the fasted state, your body is set up to burn the calories that you stored while eating, so it is set up specifically for burning fat. How does it work? Intermittent fasting works simply by following a set dieting plan. First, you eat normally for the first 5 days, and then for the next 2 days you take in less than 600 calories. Simple and very easy to follow. So, for example, if you start to implement this diet of Monday, then from Monday to Friday you get to eat all you like, and then on Saturday and Sunday you cut down on your calorie intake. How do I start? Firstly, all weight loss decision starts with making a committed decision to stick to your plan. Yes, even one such as this that involves you eating all you can and then cutting down for some days. You definitely need to be motivated to whatever plan you choose. Also, weight loss is definitely easier when you eat whole processed foods. Mind where you get all your carbs from. Stick to fruits and vegetables instead of processed foods, and you will be okay. A simple methodology of that you can apply immediately. You can eat breakfast on the first day, and then the next meal that you take should be on the next day. Try varying the meal times to see what works. Do not despair and give up hope almost immediately. Weight loss is easy and simple to achieve. All you need is to make up your mind and you will be able to achieve it. Chapter 7. Intermittent Fasting Benefits. Intermittent fasting is a new method of eating that's gaining a lot of attention lately. We've all been told that in order to lose weight, one must exercise constantly and with a lot of intensity. While it is true that regular exercise is important to maintain health and burn fat, the question arises, is exercise alone really enough? In my opinion, no. Without dietary changes, it's practically impossible to lose weight and constantly keep it off. This is where most people shun away from diet and exercise because conventional wisdom states that you have to deprive yourself of the foods you enjoy in order to lose weight. But what if you didn't? Intermittent fasting weight loss isn't necessarily a new concept. In many cultures, fasting is a regular part of life for both cultures and religious reasons. In these cases, fasting isn't done for weight loss purposes, but rather to cleanse one's body. In most cases, this method of fasting lasts anywhere from several days up to a month. What if instead of fasting for days on end, we fast every day? Intermittent fasting weight loss methods do just that. Instead of fasting for days or weeks, the IF, intermittent fasting, practitioner fasts every day for anywhere from 16 to 20 hours. A typical day eating for most people is something like this: 8 o'clock a.m. breakfast, 12 o'clock p.m. lunch, 7 o'clock p.m. dinner, perhaps a light snack before bed. This schedule means that eating is spread out over a 12-plus hour eating window, which allows for a lot of time for overeating. Intermittent fasting allows you to eat relatively the same amounts of food just within a compressed time frame. An intermittent fasting weight loss schedule would look something like this: 10 a.m. breakfast, 2 p.m. lunch, 6 p.m. dinner. What we've effectively done is compress the eating window to 8 hours. Outside of the 8-hour window, nothing but water should be consumed. This has several major benefits. For starters, you'll eat a lot less food because typically people don't digest their food quickly enough to where they're able to consume the same amount of food that they would in a larger eating window. Eating less food while expending the same amount of effort daily will equal weight loss. Additionally, because more water is being consumed, your body has more opportunities to flush excess sodium and waste material. Does intermittent fasting work? Absolutely. I've used it to constantly drop fat while preserving muscle and strength gains. There's a mental adjustment period of about 2 weeks. This is the time that it typically takes your body and mind to become used to the changes in eating. After 2 weeks, any hunger cravings will begin to subside. Intermittent fasting benefits the practitioner in several ways. Chapter 8. Advantages over other diet approaches. Intermittent fasting is becoming more and more popular as a weight loss and health management tool. It has several important advantages over other approaches. Here are 5 of them. Number 1. Counting calories is unnecessary on intermittent fasting. Almost all dietary approaches involves counting calories. While this may be necessary following these short-term eating plans, it is almost impossible to do this long-term. This means that when the diet is over, the classical rebound fat gain is just around the corner after a period of rigidly controlling all food. Number 2, you don't have to go hungry on intermittent fasting. When you are eating all your daily calories in a window of several hours, it becomes much more difficult to overeat when compared to a traditional grazing approach. If you are fasting, you are not worrying about whether a snack is okay or not. Fasting is not eating, and when you break the fast, you eat if you are hungry. Simple. Number 3, your body doesn't try to hang on to its fat stores when intermittent fasting. Most dietary approaches are necessarily restrictive. Your body is permanently deprived of enough food and reacts going into starvation mode. It hangs on to all your fat stores and slows down your metabolism, exactly the opposite of what we want. However, when you can eat to satisfaction, as is the case on a fasting diet, your body responds by continuing to drop body fat. Number 4, an intermittent fasting diet is less restrictive than other diets. Let's be clear here. If your idea of good food is a burger and fries, nothing is going to help you until you change your perception. However, it is perfectly possible and even helpful to have some leeway in what you eat. Sure, start with your protein and veggies, but some of what you like has some interesting and positive hormonal effects if you are trying to get lean or even build some muscle. Number 5, an intermittent fasting diet adapts to you. This is the real beauty of this approach. Instead of trying to find exactly the right number of grams of carbs or whatever at 10 a.m., you fit your daily fast to your life and goals. Some find a 16-hour fast from evening until the next day at lunchtime works best. Others prefer a 24-hour cycle or even a 4-hour eating window. All of these are possible and have different advantages. It is a lifestyle rather than a diet. Chapter 9. Practical ways to get rid of back fat. Intermittent fasting is an effective tool for permanent fat loss. but it is important to keep in mind that everybody should adjust his fasting protocol to fit his individual body parameters to get rid of his back fat as quickly as possible. Results of fasting are influenced by a person's volume of training and other physical activities, recovery capabilities and patterns, diet, macronutrient ratios, exercise program type, eating habits and lifestyle, current body composition and daily lifestyle. That means you should start with basic fasting program and monitor your results. Then you can tweak the program to fit your body needs to maximize getting rid of back fat. The results of intermittent fasting are not limited to fat loss. Intermittent fasting can result also in gain of lean muscle mass, health, and performance improves, better digestion of food, improved immune function. Important benefits of fasting is improved insulin resistance, which is the foundation of fat loss effect of fasting and metabolism improvement. Fasting by definition is the act of abstaining from food and drinks or only food for a certain period of time, usually between 8 and 72 hours. Intermittent fasting is incorporating 16 to 24-hour long fasts of it into your lifestyle. It is advised to start fasting slowly. Initially, you should start with 1 to 2 times a week with fasts of 18 to 20 hours. For example, you can have your dinner today at 8 p.m. and then fast until 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Drink lots of water during the fast. You can add a bit of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar to your water. Avoid coffee and tea as they have never been good for anyone. Herbal tea is okay. Then, at 2 p.m., you can break your fast with normal meal you would have at this time of the day just in case you would not have fasted. Intermittent fasting is simple, yet effective method for losing fat and especially for getting rid of your back fat. The only thing you have to do is abstain from any food for a certain period of time. We suggest starting with one fast for 18 hours per week and then adding a second fast of 18 hours in 2 to 3 weeks. Chapter 10. Why you should consider intermittent fasting. So you want to lose weight, and you have chosen to lose weight by intermittent fasting. For those of you who don't know, intermittent fasting is simply a system that alternates between periods of eating and not eating. Usually you get to consume water and sometimes low-calorie drinks. What this means is that for a set time you get to eat, and then you cut down on the amount of calories you take in. Pretty cool, right? That is like a very wonderful idea. I get to eat whatever I want for some time. Later, I cut down on the intake of calories, and the best news is that I get to lose weight. Intermittent fasting has been around for a while, and research has shown that it comes with a lot of health benefits. Getting really interesting, apart from losing weight, it also comes with a lot of health benefits. It reduces your urge to get hungry while dieting. For someone looking to start dieting, you definitely know that controlling that hunger urge is a massive work to accomplish. But after a few days of starting the intermittent fasting, your body adjusts to this new eating pattern. It increases your mental focus and concentration. As you indulge in fasting, your body releases chemicals called catecholamines, which significantly increase your mental awareness and your productivity. It stabilizes your energy levels and improves your mood. With fewer meals, your blood sugar levels will be kept stable. This will lead to constant energy levels and help you avoid diabetes in the long run. Reduced oxidative stress. This simply means that as you fast, it reduces the accumulation of oxidative radicals in the body. This will greatly reduce damage and harm caused to internal organs in your body. It increases your capacity to reduce stress, disease, and aging. Intermittent fasting, just like exercising, induces a cellular stress response in your body, which increases your capacity to cope with stress and resist disease and aging. You get to burn fat. Obviously, this is the main reason. You get to lose excess weight. When you eat, your body uses up the glycogen from the food you just ate to give you energy. But as you fast, your body switches to the stored fats and uses them for energy. It saves you time and money. Eating fewer meals means preparing and buying fewer meals. Hence, you save money and time. Also, you are less exposed to flavors and are therefore less likely to get bored and eat something you should not. Chapter 11. How to do it healthily and safely. Intermittent fasting can improve health, reduce the risk of serious illness, and promote longevity. Perhaps you're intrigued and would like to give it a go but aren't sure how to start. Or maybe you have tried it once or twice and found it too challenging. This section will give you strategies and guidelines to practice intermittent fasting safely and successfully. Please read the contradictions at the end of this article before doing a fast. There are 3 main ways to do intermittent fasting. A. Only eat from 6 p.m. to bedtime every day. B. A 24-hour fast on alternate days. Or C. 1 or 2 36-hour fasts each week. It's worth experimenting with all 3 strategies to see which works best for you in terms of your lifestyle and effect on your health and well-being. The guidelines I've given you below are mainly for the 36-hour fast, but most are helpful for the 24-hour fast as well. Pick a day that isn't too hectic or demanding because you may experience some detox reaction. Make sure you have the option to relax if you need to. You will get more out of the experience if you make time to turn inward, still the mind, meditate, contemplate, and listen to your inner guidance. Enlist support from people close to you before you start. It's great to fast with your partner so you can both motivate each other and share experiences. Eat lightly the evening before by choosing a large salad or steamed vegetables with some lean protein. There is no point gorging the night before because this will make you feel full and even hungrier whilst you fast. It's best to avoid alcohol as well. Keep hydrated during the fast as your body has an essential need for fluid. Water, herbal teas, and vegetable juices are good choices. Have at least 2 liters of fluid during the day. Avoid coffee, tea, fizzy drinks, fruit juice, and alcohol. Have 1 or 2 glasses of vegetable juice as it will provide important electrolytes as well as having a health-boosting alkalizing effect. Try juicing celery, cucumber, chicory, fennel, and watercress. Avoid carrots and beets as they are quite high in sugar. Don't fight feeling hungry because you most probably will. Just be with the sensation without judgment rather than resisting it, but read Guideline 10 below. Engage in light exercise such as walking, stretching, and gentle yoga. This is not the day to do an intense gym workout or anything too vigorous. Add some breathing exercises such as yogic pranayama. A few minutes of practice offer amazing benefits from detoxification to boosting energy. Expect some detox symptoms such as headaches, feeling groggy, or short periods of feeling jittery. These are made worse if you usually have lots of caffeine and sugar in your diet. Avoid taking over-the-counter medication to reduce these side effects. Instead, rest, go for a walk, and practice breathing exercises. Listen to your body wisdom, and if you feel unwell or it gets too much, then have some food. Your body knows best. Break the fast gently the following morning. Have water or herb tea and a piece of fruit. When you get up, then 30 minutes later, have your usual breakfast. Eat as usual for the rest of the day. You probably won't feel the need to overeat. Enjoy the changes in how you feel during and after the fast. Notice changes in your energy, emotions, and mental state. You may notice food is far more enjoyable on the day after the fast because your senses are heightened. Recognize that it can take a few attempts to get used to this practice. After a few weeks, your body will get used to it and the benefits you feel will increase as the discomfort simultaneously decreases. Conclusion. Health is wealth. It is described as the optimal well-being of an individual, whether it is physical or psychological in nature. Staying fit and healthy promotes a positive outlook and maintains a youthful and vibrant disposition. Not only does it preserve youth, it also prolongs life. Now, one of the most innovative ways to keep oneself healthy and fit is through intermittent fasting. If you want to preserve your health, youth, and the vitality of your being, then intermittent fasting should be given a try. Intermittent fasting, as described today, is one of the cheapest, fastest diets to lose weight. It doesn't require any other tools such as pills or medicines, nor does it entail any expensive gym equipment. All it simply asks is a strict and stern discipline to fasting. Intermittent fasting, by definition, connotes the regulation of food intake by not ingesting anything between major meals. Also, by the word intermittent, it follows that a sequential order of eating pattern must be attained. There is a presumption among experts that the basis on how intermittent fasting actually works can be explained by reason of anatomy and physiology, or the study of the organ and organ systems in relation to their functions within our bodies. As explained by specialists such as physicians, within our brainstem lies the seat of satiety, hunger and thirst, called the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is a complex multifarious organ, actually orders our body when to feel the urge to gobble. Hence, should there be any desire for man to drink or eat, the hypothalamus is the one responsible for such action. Thus, if left untrained and left to do on its own will, satiety and hunger will increase to huge proportions. Once this happens, the urge to drink or eat will also be magnified. Of course, there is no danger or risk to eating. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, the quality of the food intake we eat also determines the state of health among individuals. Likewise, if a person continually ingests foods that are non-nutritious, say the one we see in fast foods or cafeterias, and done in large amounts, health is affected. Uncontrolled eating can lead to a host of diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, cardiac or heart problems, and obesity. The best way to start your fasting is to carefully plan your meals. Intermittent fasting works best if it's done regularly and habitually. This form of fasting diet to lose weight must be done in accordance with the willingness of the participant and must be disciplined in order to achieve the desired effects. Aside from fasting, if you plan to lose weight, the amount of caloric intake must also be considered. So, aside from carefully planning the intermittent meals, the amount of calories must also be taken into consideration. Combining the two strategies will not just make you slim, it will help you get the weight you've always wanted. Moreover, training your hypothalamus to eat intermittently will have a huge impact on your urge to eat or drink, which would lead to restraining your unhealthy eating habits. Intermittent Fasting for Beginners and Weight Loss, written by Frankie Jameson, narrated by Denise L. Fountain. Introduction. In years past, the practice of fasting was usually associated with religious or spiritual customs and traditions. But now, a growing number of fitness enthusiasts are beginning to include intermittent fasts in their lives, depending on goals and circumstances, as a way to lose fat and improve overall health and longevity. Intermittent fasting, IF, makes perfect sense from an evolutionary point of view. Our Paleolithic ancestors went through regular cycles where food was either readily abundant or extremely scarce, so we evolved with episodes of caloric deprivation. During times of scarcity, the body turns on repair and maintenance genes. These genes increase the production of key chemicals, such as glutathione, which promote the repair of tissue that would not otherwise be repaired during times of surplus. It is this adaptation that allows cells to live longer. Intermittent fasting involves a period of fasting alternated with a period of eating and may be done in a number of ways. An alternate day fast generally involves a feast day where you eat all you want one day and then fast the next. A single 24-hour fast can be done once a week, once a month, or whenever you decide. on a less planned schedule. You can also skip a meal on a planned or unplanned basis. Intermittent fasting has become quite the phenomenon these days. Recent studies show that people who tried it have lost weight, increased health, and believed to have a long lifespan. Basically, intermittent fasting is a pattern of eating that alternates between periods of fasting, usually consuming only water, and non-fasting, usually eating anything a person wants, no matter how fattening. In other words, a person can eat anything he wants during a 24-hour period and fast for the next 24 hours. This approach to weight control seems to be supported by science, as well as religious and cultural practices around the globe. Adherents of intermittent fasting claim that this practice is a way to become more circumspect about food. There are many different popular intermittent fasts and 100 more possible variations. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. What is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting involves alternating periods of feast and famine in which you may eat as much as you like during the feasting but drink only water during the fast. The aim is to achieve the benefits of calorie reduction and for some, use it as vehicle to lose weight. Intermittent fasting can be done over a number of days, in alternating 24-hour periods or daily. The first option requires you abstain from some or all meals on one or more days of the week. Daily fast utilizes 24-hour periods of eating and fasting that begin and end at the same time each day. For example, fast from Monday 6 p.m. until Tuesday 6 p.m. Eat as much as you like from Tuesday 6 p.m. to Wednesday 6 p.m. and repeat the process. During daily intermittent fasting, there is a short period for eating, usually 4 to 6 hours, within the 24-hour day, which you can eat as much as you like. Some of the things that put people off are the fear that they will be extremely hungry and not stick to the plan, or do not know how to fit it into their schedule. This is actually quite simple. If you plan in advance, you get to eat your evening meal at pretty much the same time every day, but at an hour either side, depending on an intermittent fasting phase or eating phase. Again, with a little planning, you can also accommodate socializing and eating out. The main factor preventing many people from trying is the fear of being hungry. Although this does take a little willpower and a slight degree of discomfort to begin with, it is actually quite easy. Advantages of intermittent fasting. It has several important advantages over other approaches. Here are 5 of them. 1. Calorie counting is unnecessary on intermittent fasting. Almost all dietary approaches involves counting calories. While this may be necessary following these short-term eating plans, it is almost impossible to do this long-term. This means that when the diet is over, the classical rebound fat gain is just around the corner after a period of rigidly controlling all food. Number 2, you don't have to go hungry when you participate in intermittent fasting. When you are eating all your daily calories in a window of several hours, it becomes much more difficult to overeat when compared to traditional grazing approach. If you are fasting, you are not worrying about whether a snack is okay or not. Fasting is not eating, and when you break the fast, you eat if you are hungry. Simple. Your body doesn't try to hang on to its fat stores when intermittent fasting. Most dietary approaches are necessarily restrictive. Your body is permanently deprived of enough food and reacts by going into starvation mode. It hangs on to all of your fat stores and slows down your metabolism, exactly the opposite of what we want. However, when you can eat to satisfaction, as is the case on fasting diet, your body responds by continuing to drop body fat. Number 4, an intermittent fasting diet is less restrictive than other diets. Let's be clear here. If your idea of good food is a burger and fries, nothing is going to help you until you change your perception. However, it is perfectly possible and even helpful to have some leeway in what you eat. Sure, start with your protein and veggies, but some of what you like has some interesting and positive hormonal effects if you are trying to get lean or even build some muscle. Number 5, an intermittent fasting diet adapts to you. This is the real beauty of this approach. Instead of trying to find exactly the right number of grams of carbs or whatever at 10 a.m., you fit your daily fast into your life and goals. Some find a 16-hour fast from evening until the next day at lunch time works best. Others prefer a 24-hour cycle or even a 4-hour eating window. All of these are possible and have different advantages. It is a lifestyle rather than a diet. Chapter 2. How to do intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting for beginners has 2 rules to follow. Number 1. Fasting has to be pleasurable and not stressful. Number 2. Fasting has to be simple and not rigid. From an experienced faster standpoint, I have a few suggestions for intermittent fasting beginners. There are 2 major reasons for people who want to do intermittent fasting, IF. Weight loss or health or both. In any case, it's good to observe these 2 formulas. More rules equals more complicated equals low chance of success. Less rules equals less complicated equals high chance of success. In terms of health, a 24-hour period off of eating is very helpful. It helps you reduce calories without sacrificing what you like to eat on your non-fasting days, and maybe even more importantly, it stimulates your body to produce more growth hormone. Yes, that's right, growth hormone, the same one you hear about the celebrities taking to stay young. Growth hormones have many anti-aging benefits, and one of the most interesting being fat burning. How to do intermittent fasting. In an ideal situation, 2 sessions of 24-hour fasts in a week will be good enough to produce significant health and weight loss benefits. However, for beginners, you are not recommended to jumpstart with a 24-hour fast unless you are absolutely sure that you can do it. There is no standard rule of doing IF. Simply try it and make it work for you. Let simplicity and flexibility be your fasting motto. Don't make it stressful for yourself. As a beginner to practice intermittent fasting, I would say clear your mind from any other weight loss method and focus on IF. This is your first step toward IF success. Think how many times you've been told that breakfast is the most important meal in the day, or you need to eat 6 to 10 small meals a day in order to lose weight. I'm not saying these rules are wrong. If these rules work for you, stay with them. But if you are setting your feet into the route of intermittent fasting, you better put these concepts aside, at least for the period you are trying out intermittent fasting. Having your intermittent fasting mindset ready? Then begin with skip meal and see how your body responds. I would say this is the simplest and easiest way to begin your intermittent fasting journey. Pick a day to try skip breakfast. Have fresh juice, water, or tea instead. No coffee, please. If that works out fine, try skip lunch and move on progressively. A 24-hour fast can be done by anybody with an appropriate fasting mindset. One useful tip is not to think of food. Avoid social talk at the pantry over lunch hour. Go out for a walk or do some simple exercises. You can also explore these intermittent fasting options. Condensed eating window, e.g., eat only between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. Skip meal on an unplanned basis, as far as it is natural and not interfere your daily work. Early and late, i.e., skip lunch. 1 meal a day, ideally dinner only when you are relaxed and really have time to enjoy the food. To repeat, fasting has to be pleasurable and not stressful. Don't press hard on yourself. Be flexible. This is very important. Don't upset your boss when you are called upon a business lunch by telling him that you are fasting. Do it as you see fit and your schedule permits. Chapter 3. Benefits of Intermittent Fasting. Intermittent fasting, or IF for short, is not a diet or starvation process. It is an eating pattern. When one fasts and also reduces their calorie intake, it can lead to a healthier and prolonged life. Take note that our ancestors before us were gatherers and hunters. They did not have meals all the time, and what they ate was based on what was available. With that being said, it means that our bodies are actually also designed to go for a few hours without eating. It can survive without having these square meals a day. Living the IF life has many benefits which will be explained down below. Health benefits. Number 1, you keep yourself full. Some people think that fasting or dieting, for that matter, is equal to starvation. However, when intermittent fasting is done, ghrelin, which is a hormone that signals hunger, adjusts to the new way of eating of the body, which is why you will not feel hungry. Number 2, you will have better foods and improved concentration. When fasting, catecholamines, which is another hormone of the body, is produced. Therefore, the end result is that you will be more focused on what you are doing. Number 3, you will have more energy. Since you will not eat as much, there will be less wavering of blood sugar levels. This means that real energy will be more consistent, plus you lessen the risk of getting diabetes. You can also exercise while you are fasting, which will actually boost your body's potential to burn more fats. A growth hormone is increased when you fast, which helps burn calories. You burn more fat, which means weight loss. Since you eat less and are taking in fewer calories, your body will turn the body fat to burn for energy instead of taking the energy from the food that is otherwise eaten on a regular basis, if you are not on intermittent fasting. This also means that your body will show more of its lean muscle. On a side note, if you are fasting for about 16 hours, your body is already consuming body fat. Intermittent fasting can add 40 to 56% more years to your life. That in itself is reason enough to do it. However, other benefits include body weight reduction and fat oxidation. When you fast, your body is forced to scavenge for fuel, thus removing aged and damaged cells in the process. This sort of cleanses the body of undesirable and unwanted things and helps the weight loss and benefits of the good food choices be increased and more beneficial to your body. Your risk of heart disease and other heart ailments may also be decreased when you start a healthy intermittent fasting regimen. Your risk for other chronic illnesses and diseases will also most likely be reduced. A healthier you can begin with intermittent fasting and healthy food choices. Keep carbs to 50 to 100 grams per day. Many women eat between 1,200 to 1,500 calories per day, and when limiting their carbs, they are still losing weight. Men can handle up to 2,000 calories per day. Of course, less is best, and you need to determine caloric intake based on your activities such as working hard and exercising. Drink lots of fluids, especially water, and exercise in the evenings if possible. This will help with those late-night cravings. Once you start eating and drinking healthier, your body won't crave as much, if any, junk food. So making healthy food choices will simply get easier and easier as you progress in the intermittent fasting routine. Alternate day fasting, or ADF, means alternating days of eating and not eating any food. But there is also an intermittent fasting called modified fasting, where you consume about 20% of your normal calories one day and then eat normally, but healthy, the next day. This is often more attainable for people because they feel less deprived when they are able to at least eat something daily, and it still has most of the benefits of the ADF regimen. Whatever you choose to do, make sure you tell your healthcare professional of your plan so that he or she is aware and can work with you to reach your goals. If you want to lose weight, lose fat, and feel better, then intermittent fasting might be the answer for you. Chapter 4. Practical ways to do it healthily and safely. Intermittent fasting can improve health, reduce the risk of serious illness, and promote longevity. Perhaps you're intrigued and would like to give it a go but aren't sure how to start. Or maybe you have tried it once or twice and found it too challenging. This section will give you strategies and guidelines to practice intermittent fasting safely and successfully. Please read the contradictions at the end of this article before doing a fast. There are 3 main ways to intermittent fasting. A. Only eat from 6 p.m. to bedtime every day. B. A 24-hour fast on alternate days, or C, 1 or 2 36-hour fasts each week. It's worth experimenting with all three strategies to see which works best for you in terms of your lifestyle and effect on your health and well-being. The guidelines I've given you below are mainly for the 36-hour fast, but most are helpful for the 24-hour fast as well. Pick a day that isn't too hectic or demanding because you may experience some detox reactions. Make sure you have the option to relax if you need to. You will get more out of the experience if you can make time to turn inward, still the mind, meditate, contemplate, and listen to your inner guidance. Enlist support from people close to you before you start. It's great to fast with your partner so you can both motivate each other and share experiences. Eat lightly the evening before by choosing a large salad or steamed vegetables with some lean protein. There is no point gorging the night before because it will make you feel even hungrier whilst you fast. It's best to avoid alcohol as well. Keep hydrated during the fast as your body has an essential need for fluid. Water, herbal teas, and vegetable juices are good choices. Have at least 2 liters of fluid during the day. Avoid coffee, tea, fizzy drinks, fruit juice, and alcohol. Have 1 or 2 glasses of vegetable juice as it will provide important electrolytes as well as having a healthy boosting alkalizing effect. Try juicing celery, cucumber, chicory, fennel, and watercress. Avoid carrots and beets as they are high in sugar. Don't fight feeling hungry because you most probably will. Just be with the sensation without judgment rather than resisting it, but read guideline 10 below. Engage in light exercise such as walking, stretching, and gentle yoga. This is not the day to do an intense gym workout or anything too vigorous. Add some breathing exercises such as yogic pranayama. A few minutes of practice offer amazing benefits from detoxification to boosting energy. Expect some detox symptoms such as headaches, feeling groggy, or short periods of feeling jittery. These are made worse if you actually have lots of caffeine and sugar in your diet. Avoid taking over-the-counter medication to reduce these side effects. Instead, rest, go for a walk, and practice breathing exercises. Listen to your body wisdom, and if you feel unwell or it gets too much, then have some food. Your body knows best. Break the fast gently the following morning. Have water or herb tea and a piece of fruit when you get up, then 30 minutes later have your usual breakfast. Eat as usual for the rest of the day. You probably won't feel the need to overeat. Enjoy the changes in how you feel during and after the fast. Notice changes in your energy, emotions, and mental state. You may notice food is far more enjoyable on the day after the fast because your senses are heightened. Recognize that it can take a few attempts to get used to this practice. After a few weeks, your body will get used to it and the benefits you feel will increase as the discomfort simultaneously decreases. Contraindications. Avoid intermittent fasting if you are pregnant, diabetic, suffering from a serious illness, or taking any prescribed medications. If in doubt, it is best to consult with your health care provider. Chapter 5. Intermittent Fasting for Permanent Weight Loss. If you've been looking for a way to lose weight and keep weight off permanently, then you would do well to consider using intermittent fasting as a method of reducing your caloric intake to aid you in your weight loss quest. Intermittent fasting is defined as short-term fasts, typically 24 to 36 hours in length, once or twice per week. These fasts are normally water only. Doing a so-called juice fast can defeat the purpose of intermittent fasting altogether, as by its very definition you are consuming large amounts of natural sugars, which can throw off your blood sugar as well as other bodily functions as well. Other types of fast that emphasize one food or drink other than water can be just as worrisome. Short-term fasts like this are simple to do, and they also provide a way to cut your caloric intake rather easily. Imagine knocking off 2 full days' worth of calories from what you've been taking into your body. It makes the task of reducing that much easier. Of course, replacing those saved calories with massive amounts of food on the other days will negate this aid. But in truth, if you are in tune with what your body is telling you, this will not be an issue. Many times we succumb to our mind's indoctrination that we'll somehow starve if we don't get that extra food. Nothing can be further from the truth. We can survive and indeed thrive on much less food than we've been conditioned to think we need. America in particular is notorious when it comes to conspicuous consumption. And if we're not careful, we'll feed our next generation into an early grave with the amount of food we're forcing down their throats. There is no relief or help in sight from either the food industry, government, or health organizations. Many are either trying to sell us what they have to offer, the latest diet solution, that won't work, or deny there is a problem in the first place. The FDA comes to mind. So when push comes to shove, the only real way to lose unwanted fat in pounds is to consume less food than we use in calories. It's simple math, and the proof that different types of diets don't matter as much as they'd like you to believe lies in the fact that most of these diets will help you lose weight. It's being able to sustain that particular diet that becomes the problem. Most are so restrictive that it's next to impossible to do them long term. Fasting offers a good alternative, as it's not asking you to add anything, buy anything, or do anything apart from abstaining from food for a designed period of time. Buy anything or do anything apart from abstaining from food for a designated period of time so your body can get into calorie deficit and begin to cleanse itself. You owe it to yourself to look into this further and see if intermittent fasting might be a good idea to add to your weight loss plan. Chapter 6. Intermittent Fasting Weight Loss Program. Intermittent fasting weight loss is one of the most effective ways to shed off your extra pounds. The ideas on intermittent fasting weight loss challenge most of the previously held beliefs on losing. Those who are seeking new ways to lose weight effectively have quickly embraced its ideas. Let me start by clarifying that intermittent fasting is not a diet. You are probably tired of trying anything with the word diet on it when it comes to weight loss. Intermittent fasting is a way of eating that involves a structured program on the times when you eat and when you do not eat. You structure your program according to your fancy. If you can handle it, fast for a whole day. I recommend that you fast for 12 full hours before eating a meal. You can increase your fasting period later as you continue with the program. What makes it different? If you have tried to lose weight, you probably have tried diets such as Atkins' diet based on the frequent feeding theory. Simply, proponents of such diets told you to eat often during the day. The idea was that the more you eat, the faster your metabolism. The faster your metabolism, the more fat you will lose. Of course, you do know that the more you ate, the more you wanted to eat, and the more your weight remained. When you are on an intermittent program, you will have to cut down on your meal frequency. Sometimes you have to do without breakfast. You probably sleep for around 6 to 8 hours. During this time, your body is in fasting mode. When your body is in fasting mode, it usually produces more insulin. More insulin in your body causes your body to have increased insulin sensitivity. When your body has increased insulin sensitivity, you lose more fat. The brilliance of intermittent fasting weight loss program is that you skip breakfast to extend the period of your body's insulin sensitivity. This means that your body is going to be on fat loss mode for a longer period. You will lose more weight. A longer fasting mode also has a good effect on the growth hormone levels in your body. By skipping breakfast or eating during a specific period, your body produces growth hormone. Growth hormone is what you want your body producing when you are trying to lose weight. This is simply because growth hormone promotes weight loss in your body. When you are on an intermittent fasting weight loss program, your growth hormone levels are usually at their peak. You will be losing more weight during this period. High growth hormone levels in your body also have several other health benefits. This program is simply amazing. The intermittent fasting weight loss program is radically different from weight loss programs being promoted in the market. However, its ideas are scientifically sound when it comes to losing weight. You should give this program a go if you are serious about weight loss. Chapter 7. Intermittent Fasting to Complement Weight Loss Exercise. Food is important, but occasionally fasting is also a great idea if losing weight is your goal. Experts agree that intermittent fasting is an ideal way through which a restriction on calories can be imposed to scoop out beneficial effects from a weight loss exercise routine. Just skipping a meal is not what it implies. Putting your body on a fast for approximately 15 hours or more is technically termed as intermittent fasting. Body weight trainers agree that this is fast becoming a popular option with all classes of people who target substantial weight loss in a short period of time. Your basic metabolic rate, more popularly known as BMR, can be an effective guide to the amount of calories that you need to keep your system running. Entering your weight, age, and height in a BMR calculator can pop up the results fast and smooth. This way you get a comprehensive idea of your daily calorie requirements. Understanding this is important as intermittent fasting must be followed by a diet plan which is chalked out as per the shown result. Gorging on endless calories when you resume eating can make your efforts go down the drain. A fasting for 2 days per week, not simultaneous, and a sensible eating plan thereafter, punctuated by supervised body weight exercise routines, is the ideal key to a healthy weight loss plan. If you are worrying about energy and how you would cope up without food for so long, then don't panic and just relax. Studies have shown that intermittent fasting not only improves your energy quotient, but also fuels up your metabolism. 2 things every trainer vouches on for effective results. It is hugely different from traditional modes of fasting which often leave you dizzy and drained. Fractional calorie elimination has been seen to give rise to depression and high irritability in humans. Rather than cutting calories from regular diet portions, a complete intermittent fasting can eliminate the problems that usually tags with other kinds of fasting. This can not only pep up your energy levels, but also bring you a host of benefits. Among the most obvious benefits come a cut on increased blood pressure, a check on diabetes, enhanced longevity, lowered stress levels, and a feel-good factor, not to mention significant weight loss in a short time. When starting a fasting program like this, do ensure that you make a slow beginning, like fasting for a single day in a week until your body is ready to accept a fasting period for 2 days. Design your body weight exercise schedules in a suitable fashion during this period, preferably at a moderate pace until your body is capable to take a fully loaded exercise routine. As you get used to it, the results start showing on your body in a positive way. If you are looking at workout and diet options which promise to show significant results in a short time, you can try out intermittent fasting as an effective solution. Chapter 8. Eat, Stop, Eat. Eat, Stop, Eat is an intermittent fasting diet. Eat, Stop, Eat takes a simple approach to dieting. There is no calorie counting or other gimmick where you have to write down the foods that you consume and when you consume them. This diet plan follows the mentality that the more restrictive the diet, the more likely you are to fail. This is true for a lot of people. Most people just don't have the discipline to write down every single thing that they consume at every exact time. The basic principle of weight loss, as eat, stop, eat, reiterates, is creating a calorie deficit. It doesn't matter where the calories come from as long as you keep them under the set amount that you need to consume to lose weight. So basically, you can consume whatever you want as long as you stay within a certain limit. Eat, stop, eat debunks the myth that not eating every few hours will cause you to lose muscle, seen as how the traditional style of eating was once only 3 times a day. Though muscle growth is largely dependent on protein, skipping a meal or two won't lead to muscle loss. Eat, Stop, Eat has recently become one of the best-selling diets on the internet. With such a relaxed approach to dieting, it's no surprise why. They have even separate sections for men and women. Whether you're young or old, this diet plan could be the right diet solution for you. It's a common belief that fasting is an unhealthy way of losing weight. We are also told that we should be having some light meals every 2 to 3 hours. But somehow it's not really working, is it? What if I tell you that Eat, Stop, Eat is a way of intermittent fasting that would make you lose weight without losing any of that muscle? If you are reading this, then you may already be a true believer of Eat, Stop, Eat and how it is simply amazing. And the below pointers may help to make this innovative form of intermittent fasting even easier. You will not have a muscle loss and your metabolism won't slow down. Your weight loss will be pure fat loss and not water or muscle loss, and you won't lose strength. Just stick to whatever instructions are given and Eat, Stop, Eat, and you are good. Start your fast after dinner. This way you will already be halfway to your 24 hours fast when you wake up. Say, for instance, you had your dinner at 8 p.m. on Sunday, you slept at 10 p.m. and woke up at 7 a.m. You can again have dinner the next day at 8 p.m. Fill your stomach with water, or an empty stomach will make you hungry. Don't drink tea or coffee or sodas, as they are some of the worst drinks ever. Break your fast with normal-sized meals. Have the same kind of meal you'd have if not fasting. So no big meals or junk food. Remember, you are not trying to compensate for the fast, and eat slow. Never break your fast due to hunger. Self-discipline is pivotal. Always focus on what you are trying to achieve and let that drive you. Brad Pylon stresses not to fast more than 2 times a week. That would cause too much calorie deficiency, and we don't want that. 1 to 2 times a week is what Brad Pylon has asked for. Do it for at least 2 months. The fasting gets easier after 2 to 3 weeks. Count at least 2 months to fully adapt and experience all the health benefits of Eat, Stop, Eat. Chapter 9, The 24-Hour Fast. Popularized by Brad Pylon, author of Eat, Stop, Eat, the 24-hour fast is a fast that lasts an entire day. You will only fast on 1 day of the week, and on the other 6 days you will eat normally. The 24-hour fast views fat loss on a weekly basis. For example, if you normally eat 2,000 calories per day, that is a total of 14,000 calories a week. Now, if you subtract 1 day, then you are down to 12,000 calories. If you want to know more about this approach and the science behind it, check out Eat, Stop, Eat. Who is this approach for? The 24-hour fast works great for beginners and casual dieters. It is the easiest of all the programs because there is only one rule to follow. People who are new to IF should start with the 24 fast and work their way to the other IF programs if desired. Rules. Number 1, don't eat for 24 hours. Instructions. Number 1, pick a day you would like to fast on. Number 2, set the beginning time for your fast. For example, if you decide that your last meal should be at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, then you will fast until 8 p.m. on Thursday. Number 3, be productive on your fast day and get your work done. What not to do. Don't compensate by eating more on the other 6 days. If you do find yourself eating more, know that you have some space for cushion. For example, if you ate an extra 400 calories on Friday, know that you are still in a deficit of 1,600 calories, 2,000 minus 400. So do not worry. Don't think about food until you're fast. Keep your mind occupied. Chapter 10, The Lean Gains Fast, 16 8-hour fast. This approach was created by personal trainer Mark Burkhan and is popular among weightlifters. The approach includes a 16-hour fast accompanied with an 8-hour feeding window. The 8-hour eating window should be the same every day. Meal frequency is not important as long as you eat during the 8 hours. The Lean Gains fast is done daily as opposed to once a week. This approach is highly scientific and was designed for weightlifters, thus it is recommended for athletes. Who is the approach for? The Lean Gains fast is for athletes and any serious weightlifter. It is not recommended for casual exercisers or beginners due to its complex planning. Rules. Number 1. Diet should be high in protein. Number 2. You should include fasted training while fasted. Number 3. You should cycle carbohydrates. Training days should be high in carbohydrates while off dates are lower in carbohydrates. 4. Feeding windows need to be consistent. 5. On training days, your post-workout meal should be your largest meal. 6. On non-training days, your first meal should be your largest meal. 7. Be sure to take some BCAA, branch-chain amino acids, before you train to ensure that you do not experience muscle loss during your fasted training. Instructions. 1. Determine your 16-hour fast period. Ideally, you would want the fast to extend overnight as you sleep. If you place your 16-hour fast during the time that you are awake, then it would mean that your 8-hour feeding window occurs during the time you sleep. For example, if your last meal is at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, then you would fast until 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Your feeding window would be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Once you decided on a fasting period, your feeding window will be the remaining 8 hours of the day. Determine a time for training. Ideally, you would want your training period to be just before your feeding window, such that your first meal of the day will also be your post-training meal. What not to do. Do not schedule your fasting period such that your feeding window will be the same time as the time you normally sleep. Do not forget to take your BCAAs before you proceed with fasted training. Most protein supplements contain BCAAs. Chapter 11, The Warrior Diet, 24-hour fast. The Warrior Diet is a 20-hour fast period followed by a 4-hour feeding window. Like Lean Gains, the Warrior Diet is daily too. The Warrior Diet was created by Ori Hofmeckler and is inspired by nutritional habits of Greek warriors and Spartans. With this plan, you would either fast or eat minuscule amounts of food for 18 to 20 hours. Then you would consume a majority of your daily caloric intake in the remaining 4 to 6 hours. Ideally, you should place your feeding window near the end of the day as it is more convenient for family dinners and after-work training sessions. The only problem with the Warrior Diet is that trying to fit your daily caloric intake in one meal can be difficult. In summary, the Warrior Diet is primarily a 20-hour fast followed by one large meal. For more information, check out Orr's book, The Warrior Diet. Who is this approach for? The Warrior Diet is for people who are looking for an entry point into fasting. This diet is very flexible and not as strict as Lean Gains. This diet is a favorite for people who love to splurge in calorie-dense food, i.e. pizza, hamburgers, cakes, etc. The Warrior Diet is a great introductory diet to fasting. It makes transitioning to a traditional fast easier as it allows you to have small snacks during the day, given that your snacks have to consist of fruit and vegetables. If you are looking to try out fasting or get an idea of what fasting is about, start with the Warrior Diet. Rules. Number 1, fast for at least 18 to 20 hours. Number 2, snacks are confined to vegetable and fruits, occasionally a protein shake. Number 3, keep your diet high in protein. Remember, at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. Number 4, try to meet your daily calorie needs in one meal, meaning you can indulge in calorie-dense food to reach your goal. Well, technically speaking, it isn't one meal since you have 4 hours to eat what you want to. But let's be honest, how many people are still hungry after the first meal? Instructions. Number 1, determine what meal you want to place your feeding window around, i.e., breakfast, lunch, dinner. Number 2, determine how large you want your feeding window to be. 4 to 6 hours is the minimum and maximum. Your fasting period will be the remaining hours in the day. Number 3, decide if you want to eat snacks or do a complete fast during the day. Remember, your snacks have to be either fruits or vegetables and maybe a protein shake. What not to do. Number 1, do not eat anything calorie dense for snacks such as chips, sweets, pastries. Only fruits and vegetables are allowed. Baby carrots, spinach wraps, grapes, apples, etc. Do not have any large meals outside your feeding window. Number 3, do not constantly switch up your one large meal, i.e., going from dinner on one day to breakfast of the next day. Keep it consistent. Chapter 12, The Alternate Day Fast, 36 12-hour fasts. On this program, you eat every other day. Basically, you eat in a 12-hour window, say 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Monday. Then you fast for the remainder of Monday and all throughout Tuesday. On Wednesday, you eat again from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Rinse and repeat. During your feeding window, you may eat anything you desire. However, it is recommended that your diet mainly consist of nutritional food. The alternate fast diet was popularized by Dr. James B. Johnson. Please support him and buy his book, The Alternate Day Diet, if you wish to know more. Who is this approach for? The alternate day diet is suited for the general public, i.e. the casual dieter. It is easy to pick up and apply. I would recommend this IF program for beginners as it isn't too strict and it does not have to be used in conjunction with a training program. Rules. Number 1, fast for 36 hours. Number 2, eat normally during the 12-hour feeding window. Number 3, you may eat anything you like, calorie-dense food in moderation, of course, unless you are severely behind on your calories and need a boost. Instructions. Number 1, determine the time for your 12-hour feeding window. Note, most people choose the start time as the time when they first get out of bed. Number 2, your fasting period will be the remaining 12 hours of that day plus the next day. You will eat the day after your fasted day. Chapter 13, Intermittent Fasting and You. Intermittent fasting isn't for everyone. Some people lose weight better on a traditional diet with regular meal frequency, and some people respond better to an IF program. So before you start any IF program, I recommend you try to fast for one whole day. Yep, just try not to eat anything for 24 hours. You may find out that you get irritated easily when fasting and decide that fasting is not for you. You may also discover that you are extra productive when you don't have to worry about eating and decide that you want to try out an advanced IF program. So test the waters. You should. Number 1, fast for one full day. If your last meal is at 8 o'clock p.m. on Monday, try not to eat until 8 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday. Be sure to make a note of how you felt during the day. Record things like your mood, hunger, productivity, and anything you deem relevant. I want to try intermittent fasting. All right, so you did a 24-hour fast and decided that you would like to continue with intermittent fasting. So where do you start? The easiest way is to select one of the programs in Chapter 2 and start from there. Number 1, review the programs in Chapter 2 and decide which one is best suited for your lifestyle. Number 2, follow the instructions listed with the program. Number 3, keep the fast going until you reach your desired body weight. Note that you can keep the fast going indefinitely or end it whenever you want. Number 4, be sure to record your progress and adjust accordingly. Designing your own IF program. Alternatively, if you don't like any of the programs in Chapter 2, you can make your own. However, I don't recommend trying this until you have some experience with IF. But if you do decide that you want to build your own program, here are some steps to guide you. First, notice that all the IF programs have a few things in common. Use these commonalities as a general guideline when designing your own IF program. They all contain a fasted period and a feeding window. The fasting period is generally longer than the feeding window. Try not to have your fasting period exceed 36 hours because once it does, you will start to lose the benefits of fasting and may experience actual starvation. So, if you wanted to design your own IF program, number 1, first decide how often you want to fast. Daily, once a week, every other day. Number 2, then decide how long you want your fast period to be. 36 hours maximum. Number 3, then your feeding window will automatically be the remaining hours that you aren't fasting. Number 4, put your plan into action the next day or the next week. Tips for success. Here are a few tips to keep in mind while you try out IF. Number 1, start out slow. Take your time and slowly settle into your IF program. Remember, you don't have to maintain rigid adherence. You may want to try fasting once a month before you try fasting weekly or daily. Number 2, experiment. Everyone is different, and a cookie-cutter program won't work for everyone. Start with one of the templates and adjust it to accommodate you. For example, you may find out that certain foods don't agree with your bowels, or you may discover that you respond better to a longer fast. A. Make a hypothesis. B. Test it out. C. Document your results. D. Adjust. Number 3, discover. Going back to tip 3, you will discover a lot about your body. You will find things such as the best time for you to eat, the easiest digestible food for your body, the best time for you to train, your caloric maintenance. Once you have enough experience, you won't ever fear gaining weight again, as you'll know that losing it isn't as hard as everyone made it out to be. Number 4, don't fix what isn't broken. If the diet is working and you are seeing results, then leave it alone. However, if fat loss has reached a plateau, then consider adjusting. You may need to lower the calories a little more. 100 calories less is a good increment. Number 5, expect failure. This tip is true for much more than just diets. The truth is, very few people will succeed on their first try, but what really matters is what you do afterwards. If you tried IF and didn't make any results, then review what went wrong and correct it. But don't quit after 1 week. Give it at least 1 month. Number 6, listen to your body. Our bodies are always communicating with us. It's just that most people don't know how to interpret the messages. Number 7, food choices are important. Remember what I said in Chapter 1 about natural foods? If not, go back and reread. Are all foods equal? Number 8, the best weight loss is slowest. People often become frustrated with diet programs because they aren't seeing immediate results. However, dieting is a marathon, and the best weight loss program is the one in which you lose weight in a slow, consistent manner. Consider the following scenarios. Scenario number 1. Person A has been dieting for 2 weeks with a severe calorie deficit. Person A has lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks, but now weight loss has come to a halt. Okay, so that person has managed to lose 10 pounds, but how much of that weight was muscle? And more importantly, will that person regain all the weight they lost? Scenario 2. Person B has been dieting for 2 weeks and has managed to lose 1 pound per week. However, the person continues this trend for the next year and loses a total of 52 pounds total with minimal muscle loss. To sum it up, try to be in scenario 2. Record your weight weekly and make sure you lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. Number 9, be productive. The fast is the best time to be productive and get things done. If you are constantly focused on work, then the fast would be over before you know it. However, if you sit around and brood about food, chances are you will break your fast prematurely. Number 10. IF is just another component of your life. This is the most important tip of all of them. IF, like exercise, is just something we incorporate in our life to make life easier and more enjoyable. IF makes our life simpler by removing our worries about eating and allows us more time to work on other aspects of our life. If intermittent fasting causes you stress, then stop doing it. In life, we already have enough sources of stress. You don't need another one. Remember, you don't have to maintain strict adherence to an intermittent fasting program. The core of intermittent fasting is sometimes you eat and sometimes you don't. If you can at least follow that, then you will be practicing intermittent fasting in its humblest form. Chapter 14. What have you got to lose? Just what is intermittent fasting and why should you care? Intermittent fasting has become quietly popular in circles where people are striving to come up with ways to reduce caloric intake without harming their workout goals and still allow them to lose weight while strength training. Intermittent fasting, in a nutshell, is the practice of short-term fasts, 24 hours in length, once or twice per week. There are no variations on that theme, but in general that is the norm. This is done not so much to cleanse the system as many would have you believe, though it will to a degree. It's merely a simple and fast way of decreasing caloric intake so that you can achieve your weight loss goals without starvation plans or other fad diet. You don't have to be overly concerned about the types of food you consume while you're not fasting. Although it should be noted that fasting once or twice per week won't really help you reach your goals if you spend the other 5 or 6 days stuffing yourself with all manner of junk. A little common sense is called for. By allowing a sensible freedom in your food choices, it relieves a great deal of the anxiety present when it comes to most diets. Many times we feel totally constrained and restricted, while this approach leaves us able to not only choose what we'd like to consume, but brings balance and sanity back into our diets. Intermittent fasting as a lifestyle will bring about changes that will last a lifetime. Start by taking it slow at first and really learn to listen to what your body is trying to tell you as you go through your first few weeks of this. If you find yourself feeling lethargic or underfed, change it up a bit. Your body will tell you what it needs, and that usually isn't a monster double cheeseburger. Many times, especially at first, your body will be going through some withdrawals, and it's important to learn how to differentiate the signals. Also, you need to factor in what effect any workout routines you may be involved in will have on your intermittent fasting plans. The most important thing to remember about intermittent fasting is that it is not merely a diet plan, but a lifestyle, worthy of consideration along those lines. In order to get the best results possible from this type of plan, you need to befriend it. Your fasting should be something that you look forward to, as you most certainly will after you start reaping some of the benefits of this intermittent fasting lifestyle. Making this type of plan fit into your life is key to making a lifetime of good eating and healthy living possible. There are a lot of inherent freedoms built into a diet plan like this, and while that can backfire on you if you're not careful, it can also enable lasting success. Look into what intermittent fasting can do for you. Chapter 15. A different approach to dieting. With so many diet trends out there, it's hard to determine which one to try. Many of us spend more time on the yo-yo that we actually gain most of the weight back, thus counteracting our desired results. Fasting may or may not be tried by many of us. When we do try this type of dieting, we don't usually do this correctly or become frustrated by the restrictions that we give up. We end up feeling as though we wasted our time, effort, and energy only to end up empty-handed with the results. Intermittent fasting is not something very many have heard about. This is due to the fact that it is a fairly new way of eating. I am sure this new form of eating is soon to sweep the nation with benefits we could all enjoy. With this diet, one can be expected to not only lose weight, but you could possibly live longer as well. When this diet is done properly, your body can become better equipped to deal with the health conditions it may or not face in the future. This diet is very simple, but the rewards are nothing but. You will lose weight, burn that stubborn fat, hold on to lean muscle, and even boost your growth hormone. After all that time you spent on the yo-yo, why not give this a try? There are no restrictions with what you are able to eat while on the intermittent fasting diet. Yep, reach for that greasy hamburger or fattening fries. Have at it. You will only be limited on the periods between eating and fasting. For the first 24 hours, you are let loose to eat as much and want of your favorite things. However, the next 24 hours consist of nothing but water. You're likely to be so stuffed that you won't want anything but water anyway. Continue this cycle and that is it. This eat, stop, eat method of dieting is sure to work for you. You will lose fat with this diet, but not because you're eating less. You are actually consuming the same amount of calories as if you didn't fast with water on the second day. This process allows you the best of both worlds. You still get to eat all your favorites while losing the weight you want. It should be fairly easy to introduce intermittent fasting into your lifestyle. If you already have fairly good eating habits, the only difference is that you don't eat some days. You are still able to go about your business as usual and still reap the benefits. Doctors and scientists have agreed for years that the one true form of weight management is calorie restriction. Calorie restriction will work for you each and every time if you are able to stick with it. Most people who try calorie-restricted diets often fall off the wagon because they are hungry all the time. Despite the fact that you're eating every day on a calorie-restricted diet, you usually don't care for what you're eating. Intermittent fasting, however, gives you the control of what you are eating, thus leaving you satisfied when you leave the dinner table. If you don't feel like you are dieting, you're more likely to stick with it. Chapter 16, Intermittent Fasting System. The diet you follow whilst intermittent fasting will be determined by the results that you are looking for. So take a look at yourself and ask the question, what do I want from this? If you are looking to lose a significant amount of weight, then you are really going to have to take a look at your diet more closely. But if you just want to lose a few pounds for the beach, then you may find that a few weeks of intermittent fasting can do that for you. Although there are several different ways you can do intermittent fasting, we are only going to look at the 24-hour fasting system, which is what I use to lose 27 pounds over a 2-month period. The basic method is to fast twice a week for 24 hours. It makes sense to do this a few days apart, and it is easier if you pick a day when you are busy so that you do not become distracted by feelings of hunger. Initially, you may feel some hunger pains, but these will pass, and as you become more accustomed to intermittent fasting, you may find, as I have, that feelings of hunger no longer present you with a problem. You may find that you have great focus and concentration whilst fasting, which is the opposite of what you would expect, but many people experience this. Whilst fasting, you can and should drink plenty of water to avoid dehydration. Tea and coffee are okay as long as you only take a splash of milk. If you are concerned that you are not getting enough nutrients into your body, then you might consider a juice made from celery, broccoli, ginger, and lime, which will taste great and get some nutrient-rich liquid into your body. Although if you can manage it, then it would be best to stick to the water. Whatever your diet is, whether it's healthy or not, you should see weight loss after about 3 weeks of intermittent fasting, and do not be discouraged if you don't notice much progress at first. It's not a race, and it's better to lose weight in a linear fashion over time rather than crash losing a few pounds which you will put straight back on. After the first month, you may want to take a look at your diet on non-fasting days and cut out high-sugar foods and any junk that you may normally eat. I have found that intermittent fasting over the long term tends to make me want to eat more healthy foods as a natural course. If you are doing intermittent fasting for bodybuilding, then you may want to consider looking at your macronutrients and working out how much protein and carbohydrate you need to eat. This is much more complicated, and you can find information about this on several websites, which you will need to spend time researching for the best results. There are many benefits to intermittent fasting, which you will notice as you progress. Some of these benefits include more energy, less bloating, a clearer mind, and a general feeling of wellness. It's important not to succumb to any temptation to binge eat after a fasting period, as this will negate the effect gained from the intermittent fasting period. Conclusion. The word intermittent is defined as occurring in irregular intervals. The word fasting is an act in which one refrains from a certain activity for a specific period of time. Simply put, intermittent fasting is refraining from food for a certain time period. IF has two components: a fasting period, time interval in which you refrain from eating; a feeding window, time interval in which you are allowed to eat. What intermittent fasting, IF, is not. IF is not a magic bullet for weight loss. You will not lose 10 pounds in 1 week. You may, however, make consistent loss, such as 1 pound per week. IF does not claim to be the best diet or the best approach to dieting for everyone. IF is a simplified diet method that works best for the busy individual. IF is not a necessity. IF, like every other diet, is just a tool to help you lose weight. Think of it as another tool to add to your toolbox for fat loss. There are plenty of other ways to lose weight. Why should you fast? Intermittent fasting has many benefits. Here are a few. Lower blood pressure, lower oxidative stress, increased fat burning, increased metabolic rate during the fast, improved appetite control, improved blood sugar control, improved cardiovascular function. Who is this manual for? This manual is for those who want to learn the basic of intermittent fasting, want to improve their health, experience a consistent and manageable way to lose weight, want to adhere to a diet and without the hassle of being limited to certain foods. This manual assumes that you have an exercise program to accompany an IF diet program. Maximum fat loss cannot be achieved through diet alone. About fat loss supplements. They don't work. Yep, fat loss supplements are a huge waste of money. They don't speed up your metabolism or anything. In fact, most of them just suppress your appetite so you eat less. Appetite suppressant is something you can control with sheer willpower, so why pay money for it? It is a combination of exercise and diet that produces maximum fat loss. If you do not have an exercise program, do not fright. An exercise program can be as simply as jogging for 30 minutes a day. However, it should be noted that a well-designed training program that is tailored toward your goal will produce the best results. The essentials for a successful intermittent fasting program: dedication, determination, your body, a good exercise program. What you don't need: you will not need to buy specific foods. Eat what you want to, but remember, moderation is a key factor. You will not need a personal trainer if you are well versed in training. If you are not, You may seek out a trainer or consult the internet for information. You don't need any shady fat-burning supplements. The end. This has been Intermittent Fasting for Beginners and Weight Loss, written by Frankie Jameson, narrated by Denise L. Fountain. Copyright 2017 by Frankie Jameson. Production copyright 2017 by Frankie Jameson. Intermittent Fasting Weight Loss Diet Tips for Women, written by Frankie Jameson, narrated by Denise L. Fountain. Introduction. Intermittent fasting involves alternating periods of feast and famine in which you may eat as much as you like during the feasting but drink only water during the fast. The aim is to achieve the benefits of calorie reduction and for some, use it as a vehicle to lose weight. Intermittent fasting can be done over a number of days in alternating 24-hour periods or daily. The first option requires you abstain from some or all meals on one or more days of the week. Daily fasting utilizes 24-hour periods of eating and fasting that begin and end at the same time each day. For example, fast from Monday 6 p.m. until Tuesday 6 p.m. Eat as much as you like from Tuesday 6 p.m. to Wednesday 6 p.m. and repeat the process. During daily intermittent fasting, there is a short period for eating, usually 4 to 6 hours, within the 24-hour day, during which you can eat as much as you like. Some of the things that put people off are the fear that they will be extremely hungry and not stick to the plan or do not know how to fit it into their schedule. This is actually quite simple if you plan in advance. You get to eat your evening meal at pretty much the same time every day, but at an hour either side depending on if doing an intermittent fasting or an eating phase. Again, with a little planning, you can also accommodate socializing and eating out. The main factor preventing many people from trying is the fear of being hungry. Although this does take a little willpower and a slight degree of discomfort to begin with, it is actually quite easy. Chapter 1. Why intermittent fasting is so important. Intermittent fasting is a very important factor of any fat loss plan, and you must include it in your workout to get better results. Fasting is the process where you have to drink only water and don't eat anything for 24 hours. In this process, you will lose both fat and weight. What this process does is that it cuts your full daily calorie intake and still maintains a full workout schedule. Fasting is a very good tool for those who are really serious about fat loss and muscle building. 3 main reasons why you should do it. Number 1, maximum fat loss. The main reason why you should do it is that intermittent fasting consumes maximum fats. Just imagine if you implement fasting just for 2 days a week, you are cutting a whole full 2 days calorie quota from your weekly consumption. And this combined with your daily workout can give excellent results and you will lose excessive fat. Number 2, maintains workout load very well. The second reason for fasting is that it allows you to maintain a moderate to intense workout load without losing your energy and metabolism. Most of the people think that fasting drains your energy and metabolism, but that's not true. If you implement fasting in your diet plan, you will get more energy and a higher metabolism. Number 3, its beneficial aspects. The third reason why the fasting is a good practice to include in your workout plan is its beneficial aspects, which give you great benefits. When you do any type of fasting, your body adjusts to it by consuming your body fat. It also has some psychological benefits, like you would feel that you are not a slave to food. Intermittent fasting is the best way to balance your fat loss and workout routines. There is no better way than intermittent fasting of getting maximum fat loss with applying a full workload. Chapter 2. Intermittent Fasting for Women. For women who are interested in weight loss, intermittent fasting may seem like a great choice, But many people want to know, should women fast? Is intermittent fasting effective for women? There have been a few key studies about intermittent fasting which can help to shed some light on this interesting new dietary trend. Intermittent fasting is also known as an alternate day fasting. Although there are certainly some variations on this diet, intermittent fasting for women has some beneficial effects. What makes it especially important for women who are trying to lose weight is that women have a much higher fat proportion in their bodies. When trying to lose weight, the body primarily burns through carbohydrate stores with the first 6 hours, and then starts to burn fat. Women who are following a healthy diet and exercise plan may be struggling with stubborn fat, but fasting is a realistic solution to this. Obviously, our bodies and our metabolism changes when we hit menopause. One of the biggest changes that women experience is that they have a slower metabolism and they start to put on weight. Fasting may be a good way to reverse and prevent this weight gain, though. Studies have shown that this fasting pattern helps to regulate appetite, and people who follow it regularly do not experience the same cravings that others do. If you are trying to adjust to your slower metabolism, intermittent fasting can help you to avoid eating too much on a daily basis. When you reach a certain age, your body also starts to develop some chronic diseases like high cholesterol and high blood pressure. Intermittent fasting has been shown to decrease both cholesterol and blood pressure, even without a great deal of weight loss. If you've started to notice your numbers rising at the doctor's office each year, you may be able to bring them back down with fasting, even without losing much weight. Intermittent fasting may not be a great idea for every woman. Anyone with a specific heart condition or who tends to be hypoglycemic should consult with a doctor. However, this new dietary trend has specific benefits for women who naturally store more fat in their bodies and may have trouble getting rid of these fat stores. Chapter 3: How to quickly lose fat for women. Losing fat can actually be very simple, but at the same time it can be very frustrating. It's simple because weight loss is not a complex equation. As long as you are consuming fewer calories than what your body burns, you will lose weight. On the flip side, this can be very frustrating for those who don't know how to create the caloric deficit needed. Whatever the reason for wanting to lose weight, we are ultimately racing against time. So here are the best ways to quickly lose fat for women. Intermittent fasting for fat loss. The fitness industry has given fasting for weight loss a bad rap over the past few years. There have been a lot of misconceptions and myths around fasting that people seem to get nervous about the idea. Let's first address the myths before we can move forward. Fasting does not cause your body to go into the infamous starvation mode, nor does it slow the metabolism or break down muscle. The fitness industry has us believe that we have to constantly eat small meals throughout the day to keep the metabolism going. If we skip a meal or miss breakfast, our body goes into starvation mode, which somehow causes the metabolism to slow down. This is one of the biggest myths in the industry. It is very difficult to keep calories down. I understand the idea behind eating small meals throughout the day, but the problem is that a lot of people underestimate how many calories they consume with each meal. It can be very difficult to keep the calories low when eating in this manner. Instead, fasting for a 24-hour period, 1 to 2 times a week, causes a huge caloric deficit without damaging your metabolism. Not only will you lose more fat in this way, but it breaks food addictions and enhances your body's ability to cleanse and purify itself. Remember, some of the oldest people that have ever lived fasted at least one time every week during their entire life. Remember, eating less is the most important. You can't outwork a bad diet. High-intensity interval training followed by steady-state cardio. You don't have to be stuck on a treadmill or exercise bike for hours upon end. Long and boring cardio has been the norm when women attempt to lose weight. What you need is high-intensity interval training. Not only is it far superior in burning more calories than traditional cardio, but it can be done in much shorter time. Commonly known as HIIT, High-intensity interval training is where you have short but intense effort followed with a longer rest period of less effort. You can implement HIIT into just about any cardio machine or workout. Exercise bikes, swimming, running, jump rope, step climbers, etc. The only machine I would exclude is elliptical machines. They are popular among women for a reason. They are really easy. You simply can't work hard enough on those machines, and they are notoriously inaccurate in judging how many calories you have burned. HIIT outline: sprint for 30 seconds, light jog or walk for 1 minute. Note, these intervals will be done for 15 to 20 minutes. Steady state cardio after HIIT: a steady jog or brisk walk for 15 to 30 minutes. Note, HIIT and steady state cardio workouts can be done 3 to 5 times a week. Go into each workout on an empty stomach for maximum HGH release. HGH is commonly known as human growth hormone. This powerful hormone helps preserve muscle mass and burns fat. A combination of intense exercise and fasting will naturally increase HGH levels. By not consuming a single calorie 3 to 4 hours before your workout and waiting at least 1 to 2 hours after your workout will cause HGH to burn fat very effectively. Allowing your body to burn extra calories naturally without killing yourself with extra workouts is a much better approach to fitness. There is nothing wrong with taking drastic measures for a short amount of time. If that means cutting out sweets, adding extra workouts, or skipping out on Sunday brunch, then that is what it's going to take. If you can get in the habit of finding different ways to cut calories, then you will be amazed at how fast your body will change. Always keep in mind that fat loss is about 80% diet. Exercise is extremely beneficial, but it is only meant to supplement the diet. The moment you can grasp that idea, you will be light years ahead of traditional fat loss advice. Now that you understand how to quickly lose fat for women, you can be an inspiration for other ladies that need to do the same. Chapter 4: Diet Plans for Women of All Ages. In the old days, eating plans for women simply involved cutting back on portion sizes. The great dining plate is replaced by the bread plate. Serving sizes were accordingly cut down, and with that, the size of the waistline. These days, life is not so straightforward, and diets for females must be individualized in order to meet a range of issues affecting how we live right now. During this short section, I've gathered ladies based on standard lifestyles and have proposed diet plans for women who fit into these descriptions. First and foremost, here's a diet for women. The working mother is constantly liable to overeating by simply eating unnecessary snack food items, and on top of that, eating ready-made meals and refined foods to meet the urges related to intermittent meal times. The healthy eating plans for the working mom should be organized at the start. When devising fat loss programs for females that have a job, I usually encourage them to incorporate specific morning, lunchtime, as well as snack products to their regular shopping list. This means an extra loaf of bread, extra greens, and more cheese. Whilst most weight loss diet plans for ladies focus on wide selection, there is nothing more dull as eating the exact same salad and cheese sandwich for a snack when the alternative is takeaway food or a fast warm snack you can buy. Modify the food every week. Breakfast time is easy. Cereal, fresh fruits, and yogurt. Once again, swap the cereal once the box runs out. With regard to the evening meal, use the oldest weight loss plan for women strategy in the book. Decrease the dimensions of your plate. Working mom, you are way too busy to trouble over individual meals. Eat the same thing, but try eating much less. The weight reduction plan for ladies below 30 and with no children can be vast and interesting. You have plenty of time to eat as well as savor delicious food. You are lucky. Begin every day by having a juice smoothie based on reduced fat natural yogurt and fruit. Shop for fruit yogurt and add still more fresh fruit. Your entire body is going to be energized and all set to burn calories. Try to eat lunches of fresh deli salads with limited salad dressing. When you can, go to a lunchroom and purchase fresh green salad each day. Try to ask them to use goat cheese and olives as well as add on balsamic dressing. Make sure the salad is big and have a good-sized bit of fresh bread too. This weight loss diet for women below 30 invariably include dinners that don't consist of carbs. Simply stay away from the habit of rice, spuds, and bread. It is going to cause you to be hungry by 9 o'clock and have you stretching for the chocolate. Spend some time making fabulous dinners of organic meat, chicken, and fish, along with lots of healthy veggies. This diet program for girls will be easy, fun, nonspecific, and yet will work. Delight in your food whilst you still can. The final weight loss plan for women is designed for women over 40. I'm just about with you, girls. For you, it is rather simple. Weight is harder to shift. You'll have to do a good deal of physical exercise. Forget the 30 minutes 3 times a week. You will need to work out hard for at least 1 hour, 4 to 5 times a week. Without this, no diet program for females is going to show good results. Additionally, you're going to need to stick to either of the fat loss programs for women mentioned above, as you may also be a working mother with kids. If you are fortunate enough to be in a stage in your life which you have time on your hands, then follow the meal plan for females under 30, but squeeze in a small portion of carb with your evening meal. By little, I'm talking about 1/2 a prepared cup of rice or half a baked spud. Use caution. Excessive carbs cause you to be hungrier later on, getting you hurrying for the biscuit jar at 9 p.m. I sincerely hope you find these 3 eating plans for ladies uncomplicated yet effective. Chapter 5. The Wonderful Benefit of Intermittent Fasting. The pattern of eating called intermittent fasting usually means one fasts for a period of time and eats for a period of time. Many choose a 24-hour cycle of fasting, then eat healthy the next day and continue this process as a lifestyle change. Research has been done on animals to find the benefits of this type of fasting, and you will be happy to know it really can be beneficial to your health. Intermittent fasting can add 40% to 56% more years to your life. That in itself is reason enough to do it. However, other benefits include body weight reduction and fat oxidation. When you fast, your body is forced to scavenge for fuel, thus removing aged and damaged cells in the process. This sort of cleanses the body of undesirable and unwanted things and helps the weight loss and benefits of the good food choices be increased and more beneficial to your body. Rats have been shown to have long-term and improved survival after heart failure after being on an IF eating plan too. Researchers are also saying that it might help age-related deficits in cognitive function too. So that tells me that it might help ward off Alzheimer's disease and other types of dementia. Your risk of heart disease and other heart ailments may also be decreased when you start a healthy intermittent fasting regimen. Your risk for other chronic illnesses and diseases will also most likely be reduced. A healthier you can begin with intermittent fasting and healthy food choices. Keep carbs to 50 to 100 grams per day. Many women eat between 1,200 and 1,500 calories per day, and when limiting their carbs, they are still losing weight. Men can handle up to 2,000 calories per day. Of course, less is best, and you need to determine caloric intake based on your activities such as working hard and exercising. Drink lots of fluids, especially water, and exercise in the evenings if possible. This will help with those late night cravings. Once you start eating and drinking healthier, your body won't crave as much, if any, junk food. So making healthy food choices will simply get easier and easier as you progress in the intermittent fasting routine. Alternate day fasting, or ADF, means alternate days of eating and not eating any food. But there is also an intermittent fasting called modified fasting, where you consume about 20% of your normal calories one day and then eat normally but healthy the next day. This is often more attainable for people because they feel less deprived when they are able to at least eat something daily, and it still has most of the benefits of the ADF regimen. Whatever you choose to do, make sure you tell your healthcare professional of your plans so he or she is aware and can work with you to reach your goals. If you want to lose weight, lose fat, feel better, then intermittent fasting might be the answer for you. Chapter 6: 5-Day Intermittent Fasting Diet Plan for Faster Weight Loss. The accepted method for faster weight loss has changed. Gone are the days of reducing your calorie intake and keeping it low. This out-of-date method leads to misery and a slow metabolism. Research today is focused on constantly shifting your calorie intake to keep your body confused so it never adapts to your diet. This method keeps your metabolism high and gives you the best and fastest weight loss possible. This section shares a 5-day diet plan that shows you how to use intermittent fasting and cheating days to burn off the fat in record time. Faster weight loss. By constantly alternating your diet, you stay one step ahead of your body and it never has time to adapt to your diet. To do this, follow the recommendations below. Day 1. Start with a cheat day. A high-calorie day creates the right hormonal conditions inside your body to support rapid weight loss. The key to understanding why this works is to understand that weight loss is highly dependent on hormones. One in particular is leptin. It's nicknamed the anti-starvation hormone, and it is the one most responsible for slowing your metabolism when you fast or severely reduce your calorie intake for more than a few days. When you cheat or overeat, you boost your leptin levels, and this in turn keeps your metabolism high. Day 2. Fast or near fast day. On this day, keep your calories very low. The conditions are right inside your body for rapid weight loss thanks to day 1, so use this day to drastically create a calorie deficit. You can further this deficit with exercise on this day. Day 3. Low-calorie day. Though not as severe as day 2, this day will keep your calories at a low level. This will vary for different people, but generally the low 1,000 calories per day range for women and the mid 1,000 calorie per day range for men. Day 4. Moderate carbohydrate day. You want to give your body a small energy boost on this day, which can also add back some of the lost glycogen storage, basically carbohydrate storage, into your muscles. Eat a diet with approximately 40% carbohydrates, 30% protein, and 30% fats. Day 5. Protein only day. This day you will completely deplete your carbohydrate storage again to keep your body confused and also prepare for your next cheat date, the following day. On this day, exercise to further deplete your carbohydrate storage. Repeat this cycle up to 5 times, then take a break. Check with your doctor before beginning the diet to be sure it is safe for you, and then enjoy the results. Chapter 7: Fat-Burning Secrets for Women. Body fat distribution. Women bear almost double the amount of body fat as men, primarily to help them carry and nourish babies. Fat is a major energy source needed for fetal development and protection. We have no control over where the fat cells decide to swell and shrink. The fat cells in the lower body, where women tend to put on inches, are more prone to fat storage. The fat cells in the upper body, where men tend to carry weight, are more prone to releasing fat. Women who have dieted will notice that as they lose weight, body fat starts melting away from the upper body first, followed by the preserving lower body fat. Yet the reverse is true when gaining weight. The fat cells in the hips, thighs, butt, and abs will enlarge first. Women who have yo-yo dieted for years have an upper body that is disproportionately smaller than her lower body. Hormones. During pregnancy and the menstrual cycle, hormones encourage water retention in the fat cells. The excess fluid slows down circulation and makes it even more difficult to metabolize fat. The progesterone in women's bodies affects appetite and mood. It causes hunger during the second half of your menstrual cycle and is responsible for the ravenous appetite experienced during pregnancy. Progesterone also causes sluggishness and sleepiness, making one less inclined to exercise. Women who take birth control pills gain on average 3 to 5 pounds as a side effect. Pregnancy. Throughout pregnancy, fat cells in a woman's body not only expand but often multiply in number. When the pregnancy is over, those fat cells remain and are always ready to enlarge when the body takes in more calories than it uses. In addition, the thyroid gland, which drives the metabolism, becomes notoriously sluggish during pregnancy to help the body hold on to fat. Not surprisingly, after 2 or 3 children, the weight loss dilemma may be compounded. Menopause. During perimenopause, the 10 years prior to menopause, women begin producing less estrogen, which is a productive hormone. We also begin to sleep less and our appetite becomes stimulated. As perimenopause begins, fat tends to accumulate around the waist and chest, increasing our risk of heart disease. Aging. Beginning in the mid-20s, women lose an average of about 7 pounds of muscle mass each decade, compared to 5 pounds for men. To make matters worse, non-exercising women typically gain 1 to 2 pounds of fat a year for life, and the fat gain number can be much higher depending on lifestyle choices. So by your mid-40s, you have probably lost close to 15 pounds of metabolically active muscle and replaced it with over 20 pounds of lethargic fat, and that's conservative. Your metabolism has dramatically slowed and your body composition has changed in unfavorable proportions. To make matters worse, if you have dieted, I imagine you've attempted 1 or 2, you have accelerated the muscle loss process. Dieting without exercise can lead to 25% to 28% muscle loss. Aging also makes excess fat harder to hide. As skin begins to lose its elasticity and sag, it has a harder time containing fat cells, giving the skin a rippled appearance often referred to as cellulite. Women also face many social and emotional challenges which can lead them to become a slave to the scale, avoid exercise for fear of bulking up, and fall for spot reduction and quick fix solutions, all of which only compound the problem. These fears, misconceptions, and bugaboos, which hold so many women hostage, could easily fill a book, but let's skip over all that and talk about solutions that do work. Now that you understand the special physiological challenges women face, let's talk about how to overcome them to attain the strong, trim, fit body you really want. Exercise is the key to fat burning. If you do one thing, incorporate 2 to 3 strength and cardio workouts into your weekly routine using the following 10 tips. The results are guaranteed. Here are the top 10 fat burning secrets for women. Number 1. Warm up before strength training session. Warming up increases blood flow to muscles by about 55%, giving you better muscle contraction. You'll sweat earlier, which helps to regulate your body temperature. It also jumpstarts the neuromuscular connection, which initiates the release of carbohydrate and fat enzymes and hormones while reducing your perceived exertion during strength training. Just 5 minutes of walking or cycling will meet this requirement. Number 2, vary your cardio exercises. Alternate between 2 or more cardio activities like walking and cycling or kickboxing and step aerobics. This will help to optimally develop your cardiovascular fitness, maintain the element of fun in exercise, help you avoid overtraining as well as injury. Bottom line, you will expend more calories. Number 3, incorporate several cardio techniques. Use a combination of continuous, interval, circuit, and fartlek, speed play training. Changing techniques forces your body to adapt and become more efficient. Vary the intensity and modify impact styles. For example, if you have been walking the same path at the same pace every day, begin to incorporate bursts of acceleration intermittently. The underlying principle is that change is what keeps the body progressing, making improvements, and burning fat. Number 4, plan your workouts in phases. Organize your workouts into cyclic structure. For example, for 2 to 3 weeks, exercise at a lower intensity for 45 to 60 minutes. And then for the next 2 to 3 weeks, do 20 to 30 minutes at your highest intensity. The following 2 to 3 weeks, go at a moderate intensity for 30 to 45 minutes. This system allows you to maintain a high level of fitness and not overtrain. This cycling of workout structures will help your body become more efficient at fat burning. Number 5, circuit train. Perform several strengthening exercises interspersed with a short cardio segments. For example, perform a leg press, lateral pull down, and abdominal crunch followed by 3 minutes of cycling. Then repeat another 3 strength exercises followed by 3 minutes of walking. Circuit training has a lower dropout rate, is an effective calorie burner, increases muscular strength, and decreases body fat. Number 6, strength train with multi-joint exercises. Choose exercises that work compound muscle groups, meaning more than one muscle group at a time. This will give you the most mileage per exercise. Examples include squats, lunges, and push-ups. For every pound of muscle on your body, you need 35 to 50 calories per day to sustain it, while every pound of fat on your body requires only a modest 2 calories per day. Number 7, exercise first thing in the morning. Morning exercisers have a higher likelihood of showing up. Later in the day, the odds that you'll skip your workout increase as interruptions arise and fatigue sets in. Morning exercise also helps regulate your hormone response, telling your body to release fat and kickstart your metabolism. Number 8, eat a primer meal prior to working out. Having a small balanced meal prior to exercise will help you burn fat. After you eat, your blood sugar rises and exercise acts like insulin to help regulate blood glucose. Eating will also give you the energy for a more intense workout. You will therefore burn more calories. Number 9, eat 5 to 6 small meals a day. Food has a thermic effect, meaning it takes energy or calories for your body to digest the food you eat. Eating several times throughout the day increases the thermic effect, so you burn more calories. Eating more often also keeps you from feeling like you're being deprived of food and prevents hunger from setting in, which can cause you to binge eat. Number 10, train with intensity. To get the full benefits of exercise, you must graduate from the pink weights and moderate walking. Do not be afraid to increase your resistance and challenge your muscles and cardiovascular system. In order to change, you have to push your physical limits beyond what you are accustomed to. In order for fat to be metabolized, it must first be released from the fat cell and then be transported by the bloodstream, where it is shunted to the liver and other active tissues to be used as fuel. If you are in a dehydrated state, the liver has to come to the aid of the kidneys and can't focus on its role of releasing fat. See Chapter 10 on hydration. To sum things up, you really can attain a feminine, firm, fit, and younger appearance regardless of your age or inherited traits. You can overcome any weaknesses and trouble spots to a certain degree with balanced and symmetrical strength, cardiovascular, and flexibility training, combined with making nutritious food choices. Focus on being the best you can be. A lean and healthy body is both realistic and achievable. Chapter 8, Intermittent Fasting for Rapid Weight Loss. No word can produce more fear, emotion, and misunderstanding in the world of diet and weight loss than fasting. The term conjures up visions of starving for days and weeks without a morsel of food and drinking only fruit juices. A traditional fast is controversial and possibly even unhealthy for certain people, but intermittent fasting relies on the emerging weight loss science of calorie restriction. According to Scientific America, weight loss is less about what you eat and more about the timing of each meal. Effective weight loss is possible when you eat according to your genes, more along the lines of our evolutionary ancestors when food was scarce and people rarely ate more than once a day, and more often every few days. It's important to understand that eating stimulates many biological events in our body, most of which have evolved to store energy as fat. For this reason, the type of food we eat and the timing of meals are critically important to meet our weight loss goals. Intermittent fasting fuels fat burn. Intermittent fasting does not involve starving for days on end, but rather works in harmony with the body's normal circadian rhythms. There are two types of intermittent fasting. The first involves a liquid diet for one day of the week with normal eating on the remaining days. The second method consists of non-caloric fluids only between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. each day, with 3 nutritionally fortified, reduced-calorie meals balanced over the remaining 12 hours. This is the recommended method of intermittent fasting, and most people find this form easier to tolerate as you'll be sleeping for a good portion of the 12-hour fast cycle. Fast for 12 hours, eat for 12 hours. When the body is not busy with the complex process of digestion, it's free to perform many critical tasks which are vital to our long-term health and weight loss goals. Eating large, highly refined meals several times a day forces our metabolism to stay in high gear, processing the excess surge of calories. Intermittent fasting for 12 hours a day, and especially curtailing meals or snacking after 7 p.m., will force our body to rely on fat stores for energy during the overnight hours. For many people, this is the boost they need to effectively and naturally drop their weight into a normal range. Make wise food choices. Technically, fasting doesn't require a special diet, but proper food choices are critical to hitting and maintaining your weight loss target. The total amount of calories we eat, timing of meals, and nutritional balance of our food all affect our metabolism and the way we store or release fat. In effect, we control our weight destiny through food and physical activity. Nothing impacts our weight, body shape, and health more than the foods that we eat. Limit calories and make them count. Intermittent fasting is a tool which can be used as part of your weight loss arsenal, but reduced calories and nutritional balance are the foundational blocks to sustaining your target weight goal. You'll naturally reduce calories by restricting foods to 12 hours each day, but you also need to limit total quantities and make them well balanced from all food groups. Men need to limit daily calories to 1,800 and women to 1,500, with slight adjustments being made for extremely active individuals. Intermittent fasting is founded on the science of human metabolism, as it relies on the body's evolved responses to food to achieve improved health. Limit total calories and eat only during the morning, afternoon, and early evening hours, allowing for a 12-hour fast each day. By working in harmony with the body's normal rhythms, you'll be rewarded with naturally sustainable weight loss for life. Chapter 9. The Truth About Intermittent Fasting. The benefits of fasting have been big news lately, but how effective is it? Most people are interested in it as a weight loss tool, and indeed you can lose weight using it. But in reality, it has many benefits beyond weight loss, and some of them are quite miraculous. It has been known for many years that it extends the life of mice, worms, and flies rather dramatically, and even appears to extend the life of monkeys. Does it extend the life of humans? Many people are convinced that it does, but the truth is that we are still not sure, although it looks hopeful. There is no doubt, however, that it has health benefits in relation to heart disease, cancer, dementia, and even your mood and well-being. It can't be called a cure, but it does set a stage for healing by allowing vital parts of your body to rest and recuperate. There's no doubt that excess eating puts a burden on your body and that it needs an occasional rest. Indeed, studies have shown that if it doesn't rest, it forgoes much of the repair and regeneration needed for optimal health. Glucose, glycogen, and fat. Your body needs energy to run properly, and it gets this energy from the food you eat. Food is turned into a form of sugar called glucose. Your cells, and particularly the ones in your brain, need a constant supply of glucose, and if it gets low, you begin to feel fatigued and weak. Glucose circulates in your blood after you eat, and it is used up fairly rapidly as you go about your everyday tasks. If not replenished, it is in fact depleted in a few hours. This creates a problem. How do you maintain a good supply? Glucose itself can't be stored, but it can be turned into a form called glycogen that can be stored in your muscles and liver. From here it can be drawn out and used as needed. It is usually good for about 10 to 12 hours. What happens when it is depleted? The body then turns to the fat cells that are stored throughout your body. They can be broken down and converted to what is called ketones. This is, of course, what dieters look for, namely the loss of fat cells. But you have to be careful if you remain in this stage for too long. The body soon begins to break down protein. It can also be converted into glucose. It can also be converted to glucose through a rather complicated process, and this causes the loss of muscle, something you don't want. Indeed, in most diets, a fair amount of the weight loss comes from muscle loss along with a depletion of water, leaving you dehydrated, so don't be deceived. Weight loss through fasting. As I mentioned earlier, you can lose weight by fasting, but most doctors and dietitians do not recommend long fasting periods because they can have an adverse effect on your overall health. In addition, it is difficult for most people to fast for long periods of time. A better alternative is what is called intermittent fasting, in which you fast on certain days of the week and eat normally on the others. One form of this is alternate day fasting. In this case, you fast or restrict your calories on one day and eat normally the next. In this diet, you restrict your calories only 2 days a week. He suggests 500 calories for women on these days and 600 for men. This is much easier for most people to do, and it appears to give the same results as more extended fasts. But weight loss is not the most important benefit of such a diet, so let's look at other benefits. It may be hard to believe, but there are tremendous benefits to intermittent fasting. The main thing it does is rest many of the vital parts and organs of your body so they can do their job better. Some of these are: it rests the digestive system. This in turn helps many other parts of the body. It reduces blood sugar. This decreases the production of insulin and makes it more sensitive and effective. Furthermore, it rests the pancreas. High blood pressure is controlled. Detoxification occurs. Fasting helps clear out your body and detoxifying it. For this, it is important to drink lots of water. It increases your energy and makes you feel better. It helps protect you against heart disease and stroke. It helps rev up your immune system, and as a result, it fights excess chronic inflammation. It reduces oxidative stress caused by free radicals in your cells. Some surprising and different benefits. One of the hormones in your body is called IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. It helps your cells grow and is particularly important in growing children. As you reach adulthood, however, it decreases significantly. This is important since as you grow older, it appears to have adverse effects. It accelerates aging and can even lead to cancer. So it is not something you want high levels of when you're older, and studies have shown that intermittent fasting decreases it. Also in your brain is a protein referred to as BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It is important because it has been shown to help stem cells turn into new neurons. This takes place in a section of the brain called the hippocampus, which is critical in relation to memory and learning. BDNF has many effects. It appears to protect against dementia and Alzheimer's disease, and it also acts as an antidepressant, suppressing anxiety. Finally, intermittent fasting also helps increase autophagy, which is a system in the cells that gets rid of damaged molecules that could lead to serious neurological diseases. Diabetes comes in two forms, diabetes 1 and diabetes 2. We will mainly be concerned with diabetes 2. As we saw earlier, all cells use glucose as fuel, but it can't get into the cells without insulin. Insulin is produced in the pancreas according to the amount of glucose in the blood. Its role is to allow the glucose to enter the cell. Most of the cells in your body have what are called insulin receptors that bind to insulin that is circulating in your blood. When a cell has insulin attached to its surface, it allows glucose in, so it obviously plays an important role in your body. But too much can be detrimental. Insulin increases your hunger, promotes the storage of fat cells, and has been linked to diabetes and heart problems. One of the major problems associated with insulin is what is called insulin resistance. In this case, the pancreas produces insulin, but insulin receptors on the cells no longer work properly and don't allow glucose to enter as they should. With no place to go, the glucose continues to circulate in the blood and the cells soon begin to starve. The body realizes that something is wrong and the pancreas produces more insulin in an attempt to get sucrose into the cells. But this causes the pancreas to overwork and eventually begins to wear out. The result is diabetes 2. Studies have shown that intermittent fasting improves your insulin sensitivity. This in turn allows your body to do a better job of controlling your blood glucose levels after meals and therefore helps rest your pancreas. Both of these are important in relation to the prevention of diabetes 2. Rules for fasting. It is best to use a 5-2 approach with regular meals 5 days a week and 2 days of restricted food. 500 calories for women, 600 for men. Stay hydrated, drink plenty of water. It helps flush out toxins. When not on a fasting day, and even when fasting, keep your nutrition maximized. In particular, eat sufficient vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. Remember that 12 hours of fasting is needed for the effect. From 12 to 18 hours is best. It plateaus beyond 18. You can exercise during fasting periods, but don't overdo it. Be careful of fasting if you are diabetic. Conclusion. This approach has recently become very popular among both experienced athletes and average people who want to lose weight. It appears to be quite effective and is much safer than long-term fasting or very low-calorie diets. In fact, it has been shown to provide several significant health benefits. The principle of intermittent fasting is this. Instead of eating your meals at various times throughout the day, you eat one large meal and fast for the rest of the day. Research has shown that this way of eating improves insulin sensitivity and mitochondrial energy, which leads to an improved ability to fight diseases and slows the signs of aging. The reduced oxidative stress helps every cell of the body remain strong and resilient. Scientists were surprised by these results because they expected to find that a long period of fasting was detrimental to health. The best time to take your 2 hours feeding window is in the evening. This is because when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, as it during digestion, energy is diverted from your sympathetic nervous system. This is why you often feel sleepy after a large meal. Your body is pre-programmed to want to rest while you assimilate your nutrients. Take advantage of this and have your meal when you can. Do just that without affecting your schedule. Be sure that you are getting enough calories during your 2-hour eating window. This can be difficult, especially at first. Men should consume no less than 1,800 calories per day and women no less than 1,200. Don't violate the principle of eating healthy foods just to get calories because you will end up shorting yourself on nutrients. During your fasting period, it's all right to have water and tea, and you can even have a small amount of green vegetables or berries. These foods are so easily digested that they don't counteract the benefits of the fast. If you find that you need a little something in order to have energy for your workouts, the best solution is to schedule your exercise during your feeding window with a small protein-rich meal 15 to 30 minutes before you work out, followed by a larger meal afterward. This has been Intermittent Fasting Weight Loss Diet Tips for Women, written by Frankie Jameson, narrated by Denise L. Fountain. Copyright 2017 by Frankie Jameson. Production copyright 2017 by Frankie Jameson.